Thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me on archive. Tomorrow will be Aftermath. We'll be talking about the weekend fights. So make sure you join us 10 p.m. Eastern time for that and the rest of the week as well, Mondays through Thursdays. Look, Sundays, it's nothing official or anything like that, but when I do come on and talk about other topics, it will be on Sundays. Okay? Just so you guys know, like Sunday is the day to do that. Letting you guys know. I'm hoping that Kelly Enigma can join us in a little bit, but I did send him a link. But for now, let me talk about this. Okay? A couple of things. And let me find a charger for this damn laptop. Let me do that as well. We have a crisis, man, going on right now. Like, this is unreal to me. It honestly is just unreal. You have Hillary Clinton out there campaigning against Bernie Sanders right now. Okay? That's what you have. Hillary Clinton's out there campaigning against Bernie Sanders. Seeing what's going on, AAA, what's good? Let me go over, there's a good timeline of what happened, okay? PA Sports 31 is the handle. At PA Sports 31 did a really good timeline of what happened in Iowa, and I just want to kind of go over it with you guys, okay? 1, results go haywire. 2, Pete Buttigieg, okay, claims victory with no results. 3, results at 62% come out, showing Pete in the lead, right? And you know, whatever. 4, results bleed out slowly in reverse from favoring Pete to Sanders as Pete gains benefit of media coverage. 5, throughout the process, errors are noted. Some fix, like the Devil Patrick thing, most that benefit Buttigieg. 6, at 97%, Sanders appears to be closing the gap. Pete's campaign calls Tom Perez, who calls for a recanvass. 7, final results show Pete having a 0.1% lead in delegates, but 6,000 votes behind a popular vote. All right, and those dropped 3 minutes before town hall. His town hall. Numerous publications said there is no way to determine a winner, but CNN declares Pete the winner while he's on stage in a town hall. IDP says they'll work on the results. 9, a litany of errors are noted, most hurting Sanders. Convenient? I don't know. Troy Price says that even though, this is 10, the results are fucked up as shit, he can't change math errors made because it would, quote unquote, hurt the integrity of the process, i.e., there are no more integrity in having incorrect results. Bernie Sanders should sue the DNC immediately. Immediately. I think we can trust the judges better than DNC at this point. This is insane. They're admitting, in other words, yeah, we fucked up, our bad, but let's just move on because the process. Are you kidding me right now? And they'll use what I'm about to say as some type of reasoning as to why we should move on, right? Why everybody should just zip their mouth and move on, because if we question this, I mean, Trump's going to use it against us. You know, let's party unity. If we fuck you over, shut up. We should move on. It helps Trump. If you call me out on my corruption, it's going to help Trump, and you're helping Trump. Right? That's what they're doing. Hillary Clinton comes out, oh, Bernie Sanders, you know, he's this, he's that, and he didn't try to help me, you know, this, that, and the third. Bernie Sanders comes out and says, well, that's not true. Bernie, what are you doing? Don't go against your own party. It's helping Trump. Are you fucking shitting me? Now, yes, of course this helps Trump. Whatever likeliness you thought Trump had to regain the White House, all right, in November, whether you think he was a favorite or not the favorite, it's tilting slightly even more towards his favorite now. If you were confident he was going to win before, this should make you even more confident. If you were like on the fence, this should probably tilt it to your favor. Because everything that Trump has been, like, everything he says right now in Trump's case, it's all bullshit. We're honest. The one that's screwing over is Bernie, right? The Democratic Party does not want Bernie Sanders as a nominee. They do not want that. Okay? They don't. Look at the MSNBC coverage, the CNN coverage. It's obvious. It's obvious. All right? It honestly is. MSNBC wasn't talking about Barack Obama like that when he was running in 2007. They were talking about him like that, his policies. That little more inside information. But the truth is, Bernie Sanders is running with a very similar platform. Oh, no, he isn't. Yeah, he is. Now, they never questioned the endless money for endless wars and all that. But free education, oh, come on, we can't do that. What are you talking about? But let's leave the policy aside. Because talking to policy is pointless if we don't get to the heart of what's going on here. Right? The DNC try to get slick, okay, and try to give Buttigieg, okay, Iowa, right? For whatever reason, they're picking this guy. This guy has like 40, like something like that, millionaire donors, right? This guy has some corporate backing, okay? Now, they distract you with the fact that he's gay, right? Oh, but Buttigieg, this is their idea of asking him a tough question, okay? Instead of questioning his record, right? Instead of questioning his pretty bad record as a mayor, instead of questioning that, when he was helping the police department over there, all right? When he was helping them, fire a black police chief and then demoted him to try to hush people to do it. Okay, police, okay, they were caught, man, talking about how soon the white man's going to take over again of this department, stuff like that. Buttigieg oversaw all that. All right? Like when you look at who was getting incarcerated the most and all that, even above like the national average and everything, tells you everything. But he's gay, though. So their idea of asking him a tough question is, Buttigieg, you're gay. Do you think Donald Trump will be, homophobic when he runs against you? That's what they think is a tough question. So they're gonna do the identity politics card. Is what they're gonna do, because that's what the Democrat establishment does, right? Policy, man. First women president. Look, how are you gonna look your daughter in the eye and tell her you didn't vote for the first woman president? Right? I mean, they think this is a winning strategy, right? That's what they think. They think this is a winning strategy. Bernie Sanders, all right, is getting attacked even by Elizabeth Warren. All right, she insinuated on stage that the dude, gets money from millionaire PACs and stuff like that. That's laughable, right? It just is. Everyone knows the millionaires and the billionaires don't want Bernie Sanders elected. Everybody knows that. Okay, let's stop the nonsense. It's time to talk about the issues. Is what we need to talk about. The issues. No one is saying we cannot talk about things going on, socially And no one is saying that. But when that's all you're offering, then hey, Bernie Sanders is getting fucked over, guys. And I'm telling you right now, this whole Iowa thing, if Trump loses, all right, the election, him and the Republicans are going to use this whole charade, all this nonsense, and if we're honest, this corruption going on in Iowa, all right, they're going to use this truth to convince millions of people that the whole thing was rigged. And I am telling you, that's what's going to happen. And we're going to have a crisis in our hands. We may have this motherfucker refuse to leave the White House. And the Republicans refuse to leave the White House. If it goes like just think about how stupid this is. So of course they got to go back and fix this. It's bigger than the 1 or 2 delegate difference in Iowa. It is. Right? And by the way, can we stop this nonsense that if you win Iowa, you're the favorite? Like Iowa, 1 out of 50 states, you're the favorite to win the nomination now. Are you shitting me? Okay, they need to stop that nonsense. They need to like the media. This is how the media distorts things, right? So when Hillary won Iowa, see, it's over. She's the favorite to win. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Will DNC get behind Mayor Pete? That's probably their default. And I think they might. I'm telling you guys right now, they're going to go that route. They're going to go look, this is a gay man. Is America ready to vote for a gay man? Right? I think they're going to go that route. And whether you think it's a winning route or not, I want you guys to just keep in mind, like, be prepared to be labeled a homophobic and you hate gays and all this other shit, right? If you just disagree with Buttigieg as the nominee. If you just even whisper, right? If you even whisper about them favoring this dude, if you even suggest that they're going to use identity politics for this, I am telling you right now, they're already talking about it. Look, listen to the interviews. How are you going to deal with Donald Trump? You know it's going to get homophobic. Like, fuck our lives, what we're paying taxes, how his foreign policy, his record as a mayor. Fuck all that. Tell me about how you being gay is going to be an issue when you run against Trump. That's their hard-hitting questions for Mayor Pete, right? Let's just get prepared. If you don't vote for Mayor Pete, you're homophobic. Like, just get ready for that. They're gonna play the identity politics, guys. That's what they're gonna do. Me, I don't give a shit what Mayor Pete does in his own personal life. I just don't give a fuck about that. I don't care. When he's going around talking about how, and he attacks Bernie Sanders, saying, "Oh, I don't know how Bernie Sanders is going to pay for all these things." And okay, all right, let's have that discussion of ideas then. All right. Plus, I want to know where you got all those donors, Pete. How does some obscure mayor, all right, I forget what he's a mayor from, but just all of a sudden have all these millionaires and all of them just backing him, and it's getting all this fundraising all of a sudden. Out of nowhere. And nobody even knows who this Mayor Pete dude was. All right? Everyone knew it was between Biden, Warren, and Sanders. Everybody knew that. I don't even like Biden. But he was in the running. He was a former vice president. He's been in politics for a long time. He's ran for president before. We know who this guy is. Terrible candidate. Look, Biden's straight. A little bit of a creep. But I don't like him. All right? He will get slaughtered by Trump. I'm telling you right now. You know there's a picture out there of, like, I know they put a lot of embarrassing pictures of Trump. Biden was holding the baby and took the baby's pacifier and put it in his mouth. Playing with the baby. Who does that? Now, I don't know if he put it back in the baby's mouth or not, but what the fuck are you doing? Creepy, weird shit like that, okay, is not going to beat Trump? Are you kidding me? That's weird. Massaging someone's wife in the shoulders while the dude's giving a speech is not normal, right? Oh, Batista, let's talk policies, not all that. Okay, fine, let's do it. Let's do that. I'm all for that. Man, I don't know. Like, I'm not 100% sure how they're going to do it, but they're going to screw Bernie Sanders over. Like, I know it. Okay? I just know it. Trigger Happy says, yeah, I know that is disgusting and weird. Absolutely. If you guys don't believe me, look it up. Biden puts the pacifier in his mouth. What are you doing? Who does that? He just does weird things. He's a weird dude. I got you, AJ10. But that's what they're going to do, though. South Bend, Indiana. Okay. Look up Mayor Pete's reputation as mayor of South Bend, Indiana. Haven't looked at it in about a month now, but you guys got to look that up. It's disturbing. And the fact that, and look, I don't even think it's going to be him. All right. Like, I think ultimately either Biden or Warren will win if they screw over Bernie, but it's a delicate thing, right? Oh, have Mayor Pete win here, and then we'll just sneak in Biden somewhere. You know what I mean? I just saw CNN talk about how Bill Clinton was a comeback kid, and they're doing all that talk again. Maybe they're preparing for Biden to do his comeback, all right? I agree, AJ10. It will look like that. It will be a beating. It will be a beating. All right. Give me a second here, guys. It will be embarrassing. All right. Callie will join us in a little bit. Let's try to imagine, like, if the Bernie Sanders camp in any way, shape, or form tried to cheat and got caught red-handed doing it in Iowa, right? I mean, just imagine the coverage that they would be putting out there. Just imagine that for a moment. This is election meddling. And by the way, I don't trust machines anymore, man. Too many mistakes have been found with machines, and you vote for one guy, but it puts you for another one, and you got to notice, okay? Just go back the old-fashioned way. Paper ballots, okay? They should have you do a vote, boom, boom, and then, like everything else, you get a fucking receipt. And they give you a receipt that says your vote on it. That's what they should do. All right? That's what I think. It's my honest opinion. All right? Like, that's just my flat-out honest opinion. So in case, worst-case scenario, they have to do a recount, right? Then, everyone has their copy, and we can just do it with a paper trail. Like this idea, or like, oh my God, a box of this whole box of ballots just disappeared. We don't know what happened. Oops. Shout out to BFTV, by the way. But what do you mean? Oh, no problem. Well, we have on record here that box. Well, we have all the people that voted, so they have a copy, a receipt of what they voted. So we'll give them a call. We'll have them come in and show the proof. It's just an idea. You know what I mean? That's all it is. But I don't know, man. Like I am telling you right now, the way they handled this shit was ridiculous. First of all, how does Bernie Sanders win 6,000 more votes but gets less delegates? Can somebody? Oh, but this is a caucus. They get together and they talk it out. What the fuck that? Like, what do you mean? Like they debate. That's how caucuses work. Like you show up, everyone debates, and then they can't agree. Like they flip coins. Like it's just stupid. That's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. What's up, Reggie? If you want to come on, I'll send you the link. Chris NWO, I'm talking specifically. They are done electronically, Chris NWO. The problem is, can we trust that? Like, even if it's electronic, like a receipt should come out and tell you who you voted for. Like, all right, I'm going to vote for Sanders. Boop. Buttigieg. Hey, whoa. I want to switch that Buttigieg vote. I voted for Sanders. Are you homophobic? Is that why you don't want to vote for Buttigieg? The fuck out of here. Okay? This shit is insane. Reggie, a couple minutes. We'll have Callie here in a little bit. What's going on here? Guys, this is not about politics. You guys got to understand. Okay? Even if, let's say you disagree with everything Bernie says, right? You can't deny that they're trying to screw this guy over. Like you have to see that. Like even the Republicans on the other side are like, man, they're doing Bernie or dirty. You know what I mean? Like, let's remember this day. Right? If we lose election, bring up Iowa. Screw it, Bernie. You know what I mean? Like that's what they're doing. Right? Everyone's coming out. Hillary's coming out. Or you would honestly think, let me tell you something. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Okay? A lot of these politicians, a lot of these Democrats, they don't want Bernie to win. These dudes on MSNBC that are run by corporations, they don't want Bernie to win. CNN, okay, who runs CNN? Huh? Is it still Time Warner Corp? Or is it this? I don't remember. But whoever runs CNN Corporation, right? On top of my head, I don't remember. They don't want Bernie to win. They don't want Bernie to win. Hillary doesn't want Bernie to win. And I know this is going to be like, what? Let me tell you something. Like, I believe Hillary and Obama, I believe that they want a Democrat to win. I think their egos want Trump to lose. But Trump's policies are not affecting them. Like, I want to make sure you guys understand that. Obama's a multimillionaire. Right? Obama's living the life. Have you seen Obama's Twitter? Dude's going out skydiving and shit. Like he's living the life. Nothing wrong with that, but that's what he's doing. Hillary Clinton, she loves what she's doing. All right? A lot of the shit Trump got indicted for, she was doing too. So it's like, hey, I'm good. You know, but here's the thing. Hillary doesn't want Sanders to win. You think Hillary wants a progressive tax? You think Obama wants that? You think these millionaire Democrats, okay? And if you're wondering, right? Because people say, no, but they can't give the money to the politician. It has to be for the elections. These motherfuckers, okay, write the fucking laws, okay? If they say, we're not going to do regulations for this fucking company, God damn it. All right, vote. Do I have stocks in that company? Oops. But anyway, these dudes, all right, I just conveniently always vote in favor of whatever their donors want. It must just be a coincidence. Okay. By the way, MSNBC calling Bernie Sanders an oligarch is laughable. Okay. I mean, that tells you they're doing everything they can. They've even gone out of their dude. Chris Matthews came out. Like, Bernie Sanders has been running for president since the last election. He's been around. The socialism. I was around. It doesn't work. I was around the Cold War. The fuck? We would have a Cold War against Sweden, motherfucker? Were we at war with Canada and shit? They got socialized medicine. What the fuck's going on here? We just want, is it too much to ask? Like, is it too much to say, you know what? We shouldn't let corporations, like, own pharmaceutical drugs that people need to live and for their health. You know what I mean? Maybe we shouldn't let them make extreme profit off of that. You know, and maybe a lot of these drugs that are made in a way by socialism, okay, because they're publicly funded, all right, ironically, we shouldn't allow them to just hike up the prices, and a drug that costs $18 in Canada shouldn't be $2,000 in the U.S. Like, that is ridiculous, right? No, we don't want the government involved, man. Can you shut the fuck up? Okay? Fucking military socialism. You love that socialism. That's run by the government. They love that. Bombing people? Woo, we love that shit. We don't want to save our kids, okay? And God forbid, all right, someone's like 10-year-old gets leukemia, all right? Instead of saying, you know what, we got this. All of us collectively as a nation are going to take care of this kid, right? Parents aren't going to go bankrupt, okay? They're already worried enough about their sick kid, right? Let's not have them worry on top of that about the bills and, losing all their money and having to sell their house so the kid can get, the proper treatments. No, I mean, come on, all right? I don't want that type of socialism. I'd rather have the type of socialism where we just bomb the shit out of foreigners. I'd rather have that type. How about that? And they bring up the VA. Is the VA perfect? No. First of all, I hear two sides of the VA. And no one's saying that can't improve the VA. It has to be properly funded, right? There's an easy way to fix the VA. I've always said this, right? So here in El Paso, they have a VA for the vets, right? Give the vets the option to use a VA or the hospitals here, right? And tell them, we got you. You pick the hospital you want. You can do ours, a VA, or you pick. Or go to Providence or go to Del Sol or wherever you want to go. Trust me, the VA will get the shit together, all right? So there could be, you can have competition and all that, all right? That'll fix the VA quick, right? And if you're a veteran, you live too far from the VA, give them the option to go to another hospital. But, well, I agree, Christina the VO is the only real one, right? And that way, if you like the VA, keep the VA. If the VA sucks, okay, give them an option to go to another hospital. I don't have a problem with that. If we had universal health care, that would be the thing. No, but look, just look at how it runs in Canada. It's not like you guys think. You have fallen for all the think tanks that are making you think, all right, that we're just going to, everything's go haywire. And then, just because we're looking out for sick people, we're going to end up like Venezuela. I mean, that's ridiculous. Kids' college, right? Everyone acts like free college is outrageous. Oh, he just want to give away everything for free. You guys do understand people that go to college at average make much more than people that don't go to college. Okay. Also, don't you not realize we desperately need to educate people? Okay. We have way too many uneducated people out here like talking, all right, saying ridiculous things, not even realizing that they're making a fool out of themselves. Right. That's one thing. But that aside, a kid that goes to college will have a better job. You're going to tax that kid for the rest of his life when he gets paid. It's going to get paid back and then some. Do you not understand that? What's so hard to understand about that? Anyway. But no, right? Let's say you say, no, I don't want to do that. Okay, fine. But don't tell me that we got money for wars and shit. The increase, not the total budget, just the increase. The increase that the Democrats gave Trump, right? All these dudes, Schumer and, Cory Booker, all these dudes talking about how Trump is dangerous and this, that, but then they're giving the dude like $80 billion of a military increase. Dude, that is pathetically high. Okay? That's stupid. Now, I know why they did it, because they get donations, all right, by a lot of these defense contractors, right? Oh, here you go. Here's a check. All right? All right, so I guess we know how you're going to vote when the vote comes up, right? Now, these votes are done quietly, and they're not the big sexy story. This is not like Trump, like raw dogging a porn star where everyone's going to tune in. People find this boring, right? Like telling people that they voted to increase the military budget by $80 billion is boring. It's not interesting. It's not a sexy story. I get it, right? But it should be a scandal. That is an outrageous amount of money to increase. That increase costs more than it would cost to put every kid in college for free. Like, I want you to understand that. They scoff at kids going to college for free, or to at the very least help them, right? So people aren't paying student debt for the rest of their lives and shit, right? But that's ridiculous. But increasing the military budget, which is already more than the next 10 nations combined, that's totally fine. That people don't even pay attention to that. Like, whatever, right? Right now, we have a deficit of $1 billion. Republicans always increase the deficit higher than the Democrats, and they're the fiscal conservatives. Okay, this shit is laughable. $1 billion, more than double than what Obama left behind, and Obama started with the deficit that Bush gave him. Think about that. I want you to think about this, right? If you were in debt, let's say you were $100,000 in debt. You hire a dude that comes in and he cuts your debt in half after 8 years. So now you're down to $50,000, right? And then you fire him, or he retires or whatever, right? And instead of getting the dude he recommended or whatever, right? You hire some other dude, some old white dude that hated your other guy. You know what I mean? Comes in and tells you that dude's an idiot. I'm gonna get you debt free. Remember, Trump said he was gonna get rid of the deficit in like 2 years. That's what he said, right? Now we all said he's not gonna do that. That's ridiculous. You cannot accomplish that, especially with a tax cut he is proposing. That is not possible, right? And not with a military increase. Oh, good. He cut $20 million in food stamps. Puh. Take that, poor people. Bunch of moochers. Puh. All right. Let's increase the military budget by $80 billion. Oh, very fiscal conservative. What's up, Scrapbook? What's going on? Facts of Age started giving veterans option in October. That's good. That'll do two things. It'll improve the VA, and the VA picks up its game. Private hospitals will pick up their game. It's just the way it works, right? So the fiscal conservative Trump So you hire this dude, right? You went from 100,000 to 50,000. This dude comes in, dude ain't shit. He wasn't even born here. He's from Kenya, right? I can't believe you hired that guy. Let me show you how it's done. If you know what to do, let me show you how it's done. I'm a businessman. Hey, well, what about all those times you went bankrupt, bro? Like, what's going on over here? Don't worry about that. That's a smart business move. I'm a smart businessman. That's why I went bankrupt. Like, who believes this shit? Okay? But then, this dude gets you from 50,000 in debt, right? He's like, man, your neighbor sucks, right? We need to like bomb the shit out of your neighbor. What do you mean? Hey, well, we got to buy these 20,000 bombs and shit, okay? Well, what do you mean? Your neighbor is annoying the shit out of me, all right? So we're gonna buy bombs and shit, okay? Now, let me tell you something. We the food you buy, to buy the bombs, we gotta cut that, okay? So it's ramen noodle for you, right? All right, guy. Ramen noodle for you, and like grilled cheese sandwiches and shit, right? What are you doing over there? Doing over there eating steaks? Okay, we got to buy these bombs to bomb your neighbor, right? And then just 3 years later, he doubles your debt. You're back at $100,000 in debt. That's where we're at right now. And deficit. I'm sorry, the deficit. Where all the fiscal conservatives that came out and said, Obama, look at the deficit. And Obama took over a recession. Okay? Like, Bush gave these huge tax cuts to the rich, and it fucked the economy all up. And then those 10 millionaires turned around and, bail us out. All right? The banks came out and said, we're too big to fail. You need to bail us out. Oh, that socialism is perfectly fine. Right? Imagine you could do whatever the fuck you wanted with your money. And once you get rid of all that money and gamble it out or just waste it on a bunch of whatever you want, booze, whatever, right? And they could bail you out. Imagine. Can you just imagine that? But they call poor people on food stands moochers, right? Now, no one here is pretending that there's no one that abuses the system of food stamps and all that, but these banks abuse the system all the time. They crash the fucking economy. They get zero regulation. Your bank account is more regulated, okay, than they are. That's ridiculous. The more you think about it. Now, we are where we are. The debt is growing. It's not going down. The deficit is as high as it's ever been. By next year, it'll be the highest it's ever been. It's projected that in a couple of years, like 10 years from now, we'll have a $2 trillion dollar deficit. How that is sustainable, I have no idea. Okay? I guess we'll figure that out. How we're going to sustain that. And that's if we go the same direction, right? If we keep going the same way. So, what are you going to do? I agree, Reggie Owens. They did just that. All right. So they're doing everything they can to screw over Bernie Sanders. Just about everything that they can. All right. Let me know when you're ready, Reggie, and I'll send you the link. Chicano Prophet, I did send you an email. I know it was a little last second, but I can send you a link as well. Christian NWO, multi-trillions, I agree. True. If I said billion, then I was wrong. But the reality is we have a deficit problem right now. For those that don't understand what we mean by that is the government, the money that comes in, right? The money the government gets, right? In taxes. The money they get, They're spending more than what they're getting. All right? Let me repeat. They're spending $1 trillion more than they're receiving in taxes. All right? Now, we were told that by giving a huge tax break to the rich was going to trickle down and they were going to make more jobs, even though manufacturing jobs are still leaving. They're not here. They're still leaving. He didn't save them. He lied. Okay? Because he can't. What the fuck's the president going to do? Unless you change the laws and make it to where they have to stay here, you can't force them to stay here. And if they don't have, like an incentive to stay, they're not going to stay. So, again, you tell me, it's obviously not working, right? If it's true, then give a tax. Like, the logic, first of all, is laughable. Give a tax break to the ones on top, and the ones in the bottom are going to make more money because they're going to make more money because the ones on top are going to give them more money. Right. Like if somebody pays someone $20 a week to mow their lawn just because Trump gave them a tax cut, they're going to give them $500 now. Right. It's just going to magically happen. Right. Okay. So, not to mention some people paid more in taxes, right? Depending on your situation, but that's another deal. Right. So, and after we can just saying, well, how do we fix that? Well, we could start with not spending a ridiculous amount of money in the military. There's like $1 trillion that's unaccounted for. What the fuck that means? If any other department did that, now the media doesn't call out the Pentagon, and Democrats don't call it. Bernie's the only one that's mentioned it that I couldn't recall. I could be wrong, but and also him and actually, in fairness, a Republican Rand Paul has mentioned it as well. Okay. A lot of libertarians mention it as well. Okay. And to be fair, but yes, it's a ridiculous amount of money that's being spent. How do you increase the military budget but cut taxes? That's ridiculous. All right? That is dumb. So when they say, right, when the talking point is very misleading and it doesn't explain well what needs to be explained. They say, you're increasing the deficit with the $4 trillion tax cut. Well, all people hear is tax cut. That's all they hear, right? Like, well, I do want a tax cut. What do you mean? How can we build more of a deficit if you don't take with my money? Like if I keep my money, right? You know what I mean? That's the logic behind it. But tell me why 2 Bernie Sanders supporters came to my house today, gave me some paper, and they said to vote Democrat. Well, they're not going to tell you to vote Republican. There's only 2 parties in this country, right? And by the way, this is why impeachment doesn't work. If you guys go back to the Bill Clinton impeachment, it's the same thing. It's the other way around. All the Democrats voted not guilty. All the Republicans voted guilty. You know what I mean? And this one, same thing. It's political. You know what I mean? If we had more parties in the middle or the left or the right, like if we had multiple parties, we wouldn't know what the fuck would happen. And maybe it would actually provide a good checks and balance, and the president wouldn't be doing naughty things like Donald Trump does naughty things. All right? That's what I'll say about that. All right? Let me send it to you, Reggie. The link is in the chat, Reggie. Man, yeah, a lot of jets being built. These planes is like $700 million. True. Not just jets, tanks, bombs. I remember when Rubio was going at it with Rand Paul, right? And Rand Paul was like, we can't keep spending this money. We don't have the money. At the time, they said it was ridiculous. Obama's got us in 400 billion in debt. Look at what he's done. What a terrible human being. That's what they were saying. Right? At the time. Now it's $1 trillion, which is ridiculous. What's going on, Reggie Owens?
What's happening, bro?
What's going on, man? What's on your mind? What do you think about all this nonsense?
Man, that military spending thing is the thing that gets me, man, because with this country, it's pointless to waste money towards, I guess, the supposed national security, billions of dollars it's probably spending trillions of dollars when you look at it over time, easily. Every decade, they probably throwing $1 trillion wasted money into military spending. You look at military programs that they go into these new plane programs, which are like usually like 20-year programs, new defense programs with tanks, missiles, submarine programs. And then when you look down the line, these programs were never in use. You look in boneyards across the damn country, and these new planes are just sitting there wasted. Like this is money that could have went to helping with other social programs, helping to curb the poverty issues, homelessness, and matter of fact, this is the same thing that drove the Soviets into crashing their economy is wasteful military spending.
But Reggie, don't you understand that? I'm going to show you a graph when Obama ran the military, okay? He had the military starving and with no funds. I mean, look at this, Reggie. This is terrible, bro. Right? Look at this. We needed more money to fund the military, right?
Yeah, wasteful, just wasteful as hell.
Yeah, but they're acting like Obama didn't fund the military.
No, but over with other presidencies, well, I can't even pronounce the word, presidencies or other administrations, sometimes those programs end up rolling over. And then when he came in, you got to think about the 2 wars that were going on, 2 unnecessary wars.
People don't know about this fucking budget. Okay? And not only that, Reggie, sometimes they go over budget. And they ask for another $78 million to finish building a jet, or you know what I mean? It's national security. You know what I mean? So
that's like
dude, this is more spending in China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, India, France, the United Kingdom, and Japan combined. Combined, bro. Then all of them combined, and they still increased it by $80 billion. But if you say, you know what, I have an idea. We already do free education all the way to high school. How about we give people a free education all the way to a bachelor? Because a bachelor degree is equivalent to what a high school diploma was back in the 60s, right? Let's do that. That's stupid. Why would we do that? We don't got money for that, right?
Matter of fact, when I was in there, and this is the first time I realized how stupid this government is ran. They did and this back in 2000 to 2001 when I was in, they did a report that came from the Pentagon about military spending. And this wasn't even with weapons. This is about hammers. They were spending like $50 or $100 for hammers that you can buy at Home Depot for like $8 or something. Toilet seats that cost $200. All the screws that were like, you can probably a 50-cent screw. The Pentagon's paying like $5 for these things. And it went all to people that get military contracts. And I guess to this extra money they spend is to offset what they lose on the private side of commercial business. But it's like
they don't get audited. You know what I mean? And if a politician comes out and says a senator or even a president, right? You can't run for president and be like, first day, I'm going to audit the Pentagon. Like, do you realize, you're unpatriotic. How dare you speak about the military that way? They put their lives on the line for your freedom and all this other nonsense. You know what I mean? Well, we're not talking about the soldiers. We're talking about the people that are wastefully spending this money, right? But then soldiers come back, right? And they're asking charities to raise money for them, okay, so they can have money to pay for their PTSD, right? Just saying.
Yeah, it's a cold game, and most people don't know. They get conned into these beliefs of patriotism and supporting and worshiping soldiers and this and that. If you really cared about soldiers, you care more about the damn issues in this country and where things are going right. You go down, you look how this country kicks its veterans to the damn curve. Like you can go down to the VA system. A veteran just can't get out and go down to the VA and get things. You got to go through all this other questionnaire and them doing review of what kind of money you're making. And if you're looking for any benefits, you don't get any real lifetime benefits unless you leave there with some sort of service related injury. Otherwise, get your hell up, it's almost get your ass up out of here. And then also when you're dealing with where you heard about the VA came under a lot of scrutiny for them putting soldiers on these 2 and 3 year waiting lists with terminal illnesses, and they waited for them to die off. A lot of times you won't get service related disabilities to where you're like classified as deemed to not be able to work. You're like fully disabled. But in order to get this, you have to prove that these injuries occurred in the military. And when you go, a lot of these guys go back trying to find through their records. You're hoping the VA stored a lot of this. A lot of times they find out the VA has lost these records. There's claims of some warehouse where they store the records, burning down this and that. And I went through it myself with trying to get my VA benefits. Lucky I held onto a medical document, but other than that, it was a document of me doing my physicals, getting out of my knees and back injuries. But when I went to try to retrieve documents from the VA can't find it. Then they come up with talks about this warehouse. And I come across hundreds of other veterans who go through the same thing when it comes to trying to get medical records and other benefits. It's just everything's in shamble, man. But to talk that support your troops and all, that's a bunch of BS bullshit.
Right. I absolutely agree. I mean, I remember Trump bragged about the big military increase that he gave like the veterans, right? He gave them like what was it, like $1 increase or like something like laughable, bro. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, what's good, Chief Funk? If you want to join in, kind of profit out there as well, I would send a link. Let me know. All right. Do you have any final things to say before because I'm going to go to the Bible next, but do you have anything to say about this, everything going on in politics right now?
No, but they better get the Democrats better get their ish together because ain't nobody riding with no other candidate but the one who should win. But yeah, I'm ready to go to the Bible stuff.
Interesting. Quick disclosure. I mean, I'm just going to give you guys what I think. I want to go over Genesis, bro. Okay. That's what I want to go over. What's up, Kelly? I did send you I sent you the email, but I'll post a link anyway in the chat in case you don't want to go all the way to your email or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's there in the chat. Chief Funk, you can click on it as well as you want. I want to go over this, Reggie, all right? This is Genesis, bro. Because I always say, if I pull up something from the Bible and, you haven't read it from the beginning. So let's, I don't know, I'm going to go over all of it, but this year I'm going to start with Genesis and then we'll kind of see what we'll do later. But I just want to go over the beginning of it really quick, right? It says here, Reggie, in the beginning. Okay, now granted, they want this to be taught in science class, Reggie, okay? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. So there was already water, Reggie. What do you think?
I don't know. Let me hear more.
Right, the water was already there and shit. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. God saw that light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning. The first day, Reggie. That was a day. All right, let me go over the next verse. And God said, let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from water. So God made the vault and separated the water from under the vault from the water above it. And it was so. God called the vault sky, and there was evening, and there was morning, and the second day. What you got so far, Reg? Does it sound convincing?
Hell no. That's why I don't know nothing about the Bible, man. And it's funny because I'm a kid that grew up going to Sunday school every Sunday.
Right. What's going on, Kelly? Oh, Kelly fell off. I don't know what happened. We had you on here. I don't know what happened. But let me know when you come back on. Let me get Kelly back on. There we go. All right. What's going on, Kelly?
What's happening, man? What's going on?
What's going on, bro? So there was already water, bro. What do you think? We're going over Genesis right now. This is the first verse.
Oh, man.
All right. So that was day 2. What is that? I don't know what happened there, but let me say this. And God said, let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, and let dry ground appear. And it was so. God called the dry ground land, and gathered waters called the seas. And God saw that it was good. God said, let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants, and trees on the other land bear fruit with a seed in it, according to their various kinds. And it was so. The land produced vegetation, plants bearing seed according to their kinds, and trees bearing fruit with a seed in it according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good, and there was evening, and there was morning, and that was the third day. I want to get to verse 14 because it's very vital, right? And God said, let there be lights in the vault of the sky to separate the day from the night. And let this serve as signs to mark sacrifice times, days, and years. And let them lights in the vault of the sky give light to the earth. And it was so. God made 2 great lights. The greater light to govern the day, and the lesser light to govern the night. That's the sun. That is the sun and the moon. He also made the stars. God set them in the vault of the sky to give light on the earth, to govern the day and the night, and to separate light from darkness. And God saw that it was good, and there was evening, and there was morning. That's the 4th day. So here's what I want to say. We all know, right? Unless you believe otherwise, that's fine. But we all know that the stars are far older than the earth, right? I mean, light years older. It's not even funny how much older they are, right? I mean, it's not even close. But let's leave the stars aside. This dude created the seeds and the plants, and they grew and everything before the creation of the sun. He created light before the creation of the sun. Now, to me, this just sounds like primitive people that did not understand how light worked. Okay, when you walked outside, it was from the sun. They did not understand how the sun worked. They did not understand how the earth worked. And they did not know what the stars were. You there, Kelly?
Yeah, I'm here.
What do you think about that?
They just made shit up because they didn't understand what was going on. So they just decided to make it up, man. Somewhere about down the line, I truly believe that they started to believe this bullshit. But in my honest opinion, I actually think that they just made it up. I also believe that, remember in that part, remember when it's me having a brain cramp. Sometimes I get old. I remember when Moses was talking to a talking bush. He was talking to a bush. There was supposed to be a talking bush.
Right.
My opinion is that he was talking to a marijuana plant, and it was on fire, and he got high. Oh, that's what I believe. I'm dead ass serious, bro. I believe. Right. Yeah, I believe that there was a burning marijuana plant, and he had some delusions, and I
was gonna take these 10 commandments down the hill, but then I got high.
We know that weed was around back then. We know marijuana was around back then, man, and we also know the Native Americans in the States smoked marijuana back then. I mean, those weed has been smoked for ages. We've known that forever. That weed has been smoked for ages. It's nothing new. So my guess is that when he was talking to when he thought he was talking to a bush. He started to imagine shit due to the fact that he was there was
now
a
is it
bush on fire.
they want this,
Yeah.
right? Like people like science. Who believes that nonsense, right? But like they believe this, right? This is my problem, right?
There's no evidence of that. There's nothing that can back that up, or can actually. At least nothing so far has proven that any of that shit is true.
So
Nothing.
the stars are older than the Earth,
right?
I mean, I don't even. That's not debatable. You know what I mean?
No, it's not debatable at all.
Unless someone wants to say otherwise.
Oh, I'm pretty sure somebody will. Pretty sure somebody's going to agree with it. You know, there's somebody who will. Well, my faith told me that that the Earth and the stars are basically the same age. God made them all at the same time, or God made them like there's only like a couple of days. I'm pretty sure that somebody will try to come up with some excuse as to why the stars are older than Earth. Or so, probably like a couple of days.
Well, he says 13 billion years is laughable, but the stars being created after the plants is laughable. You know what I mean?
He said 13 billion years is laughable. Please, man. We do know that the Earth is going to die due to the sun is going to die. We also know that stars do eventually die, and that stars live for billions of years, man. I mean, it's just we know this is a documented fact. We also know about, I spoke about this before in the last live stream. We also know about galaxies cannibalizing other galaxies. These are things that actually happen. We also know about black holes. Now, we're still learning about black holes. We're learning a lot about black holes, what black holes still do. I've heard a lot of different ideals on what black holes done. There hasn't been any type of real conclusions what happens when you go in a black hole. But we kind of assume that when you go in a black hole, you die. But I've heard people say that it potentially could take you to another dimension or something. I've heard all kind of stuff. I don't know. We don't know because we haven't found out yet.
Let me ask Reggie this. Reggie is like, if you look at the order I just said it in, right? Does any of it make sense? People, I'm sure you've been told, because I have. You just haven't read the Bible from the beginning, right? I literally just read how supposedly the stars were created. Okay, by the way, people question science and the explanations it provides, but they don't question God just said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Like, they don't question that. Now that makes total sense. You know what I mean? But leaving that aside, even God saying these things is not in the proper order, right?
Go ahead, right. Yeah, because you wouldn't have, if the forming of the Earth, you wouldn't have any other life with it. The planet would be too hot. It'll be starved of anything. There would be no water. There'll be no formation of land. So it must go through these processes. So livable elements in life don't exist. Plants don't exist. Animals don't exist, and humans sure in the hell don't exist, because the environment doesn't suit human life at this point. Like, it's too early in this formation. Like, but the Bible doesn't detail any of this, and people are just supposed to accept what they hear out of it rather than questioning any of it.
Boxing historian, the Earth is not 12,000 years old, bro.
Oh my God! Really?
4 billion years old.
Now I've heard 6,000. So you guys,
I heard 6.
I
heard 10,000 too, man. So they're all over the place with this.
But the age of the Earth is 4 billion years old.
Yes, and we know that through carbon dating. We know that for a fact.
No, but this book says that first he created the plants and shit, then he created the sun. You know what I mean? But let me get G-Funk in. What's going on, G-Funk? G-Funk.
Yo, you guys hear me?
What's going on? What are your thoughts, bro? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm one of those people that will disagree with a lot of the things you guys are saying here.
Okay.
So I just heard now that was just said, but I heard something about the age of the Earth and carbon dating. Is that what you guys were talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
What about that?
So carbon dating. What do you guys have to say about things that get carbon dated? Like, I have to look at my phone. I have several articles from science magazines from over the years where they've carbon dated like fossils of like mastodons or something like that, where one part the carbon dating says it's this million years old or this 1,000 years old, and different parts of the same body are different ages. What do you guys say to that?
Wait. Say that one more time. One more time.
Let's first establish what source is this? What book is this? Or like who said this?
I know Christian Science has stated some of that stuff before, which is just I've heard Christian Scientists state this kind of stuff too, to try to kill carbon dating because it doesn't because it refutes their bullshit. But go ahead.
But say that again, G-Funk, because certain things you don't have to carbon date. Certain things have certain half-life, like they talk about with nuclear chemicals. Certain things have a certain life period, and when you test certain elements, these elements date back to having a certain period in life. And then sometimes when you look at like rock formations and mountain formations, certain things went through certain periods of time, and you can use methods like that to really figure out the age of things.
Right. No, I'm looking for the article. I have a screenshot of
Well,
it.
let's leave the article aside, right? Like, you're saying that they'll find like a piece of an animal or not, or like a fossil, and in the same fossil, the carbon dating says has different years. Is what you're saying?
Right. It'll be like one part will be like 50,000 years old, and another part will be like 100,000 years old. Like,
so
it's the same body.
Let's do this, right? Let's just do this.
You mean a human
Let's
body?
assume. No,
No, it's a I forgot what kind of animal it was. It was a prehistoric animal that they tested it on.
All I'll say to that is, I mean, even if that were true, it would definitely not prove that the Earth is 12,000 years old.
Well, I wasn't using that as a point to say that the Earth is 12,000 years. I was using it because carbon dating itself, again, has been shown to be flawed very often throughout history.
Is it more flawed? Are you arguing that it's more flawed than what it says in Genesis?
I would agree more with Genesis. Yes, I would.
Well, so
do you have any evidence to back up Genesis?
Oh, well, let me ask this: do you believe that the plants were created first in the sun?
You know, Genesis is a book that I haven't studied in quite some time. But there is a lot of proof to it. I just got to find it. And I'm looking, as I'm listening to you guys, I'm looking at my phone right now, still trying to find that piece that I was telling you guys about with the carbon dating, and it had the article from the magazine. I just can't find it right now. But what do you guys say to things like as far as the Earth? Now, here's some scientific evidence that I would use to say that the Earth is a lot younger than what science would teach us. There's this thing called what are they? These halos that they found in basement stones, granite stones. They're called geez, now I can't find that article either. Hold on. Okay, I found it.
Okay, go ahead.
I found it. Hold on. Let me see. Here we go. Okay. They're called PO radio halos that they found in metamorphic rocks that shouldn't be there if the Earth is millions of years old. You wouldn't be able to find these halos inside of these rocks. And it was found by a guy named, I think his name was Dr. Robert Gentry, back in like the late 1970s or early 80s. And he wrote a whole book on it called PO Halos. But it's also backed up by another PhD named Andrew A. Snelling, who wrote an article on young Earth and used this as evidence of a young Earth.
What do you got, Kelly?
Dr. Robert Gentry is a Christian Scientist. Just want to let you know that.
I know that, but what does that have to do with his PhD?
Bullshit. They've been proving it's like been just straight up. Christian Science. There's no Christian Science is an oxymoron, bro. There is no you must separate the two. So I mean, this dude has already been debunked multiple times, man. This dude's full of shit. He's not even. He's not even accepted as. He's not even accepted in the scientific community.
Well, see, that would be a point that I would make to say, like, because someone has a different point of view with some evidence that goes against.
But he doesn't have any real. I mean, it's been rejected by the scientific community, which has been peer reviewed. These are scientists globally around the world. If it's not accepted by the scientific community, it's bullshit. It really is. Just telling you, science when something's been proven, we're talking about theory. Theory is something that's been studied, it's been tested, then they've come to a conclusion. Then it's gone through peer review, which means multiple scientists around the world have studied it, tried it, and tested it. And then there was been a conversation and then a conclusion. That's what a theory is. So it's not just one set of eyes who come with this. This is his set of eyes.
Right. That's the definition of science in general, right? Is things that can be studied, tested, and observed, right?
No, but they have to be proven too.
Yes, that's proven, man. That's what
like you cannot just like let me kind of do this, right? And I apologize. I don't know, my battery died. Thankfully, this is at an end, so I'm back on. I'm not exactly sure what was said, but let me say this. A lot of people confuse a hypothesis with a theory, right? And to be more specific, of course, you go to a dictionary and specifically find a dictionary that you specifically want so it can benefit the definition you want. But a scientific theory, yes, of course, there's experiments involved, but there's a thing called a hypothesis, something you believe. Okay, now granted, you have to have good reason. Like there has to be some type of like a good hunch or whatever it is for a hypothesis. And then after you do certain tests and constant testing, all right, your theory then has to be peer reviewed by hundreds of scientists, right? Like this is not what's happening with what you're saying. This is not what Genesis did. Like the Genesis would fit. Like it's not even a good hypothesis, much less a theory.
So this is not what I'm saying. This is what this PhD is saying.
Okay, what about all the?
I didn't write this article.
What about this? What about the overwhelming amount of more
or the PO radio halos that are found in these rocks? I mean, you know.
But what about the overwhelming amount of? We can't just pick and choose which PhDs.
Oh, you're cutting out.
Can you hear me now? Let me fix my audio. Go ahead.
Hear me? You guys there?
I could hear you. Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you, man. The dude is a creation scientist, man.
What's going on?
Creation scientist. That in itself has already been bullshit. But I mean, he's already been debunked, man.
First of all, can you guys hear me?
Well, I would ask you to debunk it then. What makes it fake, or what makes it not science?
I go by all the scientists that have actually rejected his hypothesis, his bullshit. He's been rejected, man. You can actually Google it, and you'll see that he's been destroyed. And they call him a creation scientist, which the scientific world does not accept creation science at all. It's not considered science. It's not. Man, they don't accept it at all.
My internet is acting up so bad right now. I didn't hear anything you said, Kelly.
Hey, Chief Funk. First of all, Kelly, can you hear me?
Oh, I know that. I know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you couldn't hear me. I said creation science has been rejected by the science community.
Chief Funk, maybe Chief Funk could come back on. I don't know what was going on with his internet, but so this guy Kelly he's a creationist, right?
Yes.
Right. So of course he's gonna have a certain bias with any information he searches for. You know what I'm saying? Let's see if Chief Funk can hear us now. Can you hear us, Chief Funk?
Yeah, sorry about that, man. I don't know what's going on with my internet. It just booted me out right now. But
Okay.
yeah, Callie, I didn't hear it kept cutting in and out, so I couldn't hear everything you were saying. Matter of fact, I couldn't really make out anything. It was just going like real in and out.
Go ahead, Kelly.
Oh, I was just saying that he's already been rejected by the science community. He's known as what you call a creation scientist, which has been totally rejected by the scientific community, man. Totally rejected. This guy's been debunked and already been destroyed, and no one accepts his hypothesis, man.
I believe that Robert. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
I believe that
Yeah,
Robert Gentry himself. I think it actually went to court. This case when it was first discovered, and I think he was actually, it was actually proven in court that what he found was real. I think it's just, again, when you go against the scientific community that way, you're gonna run into these sort of things.
Here's my thing,
See, I'm the type of person I believe in God. I believe in God and I believe in the Bible, but I also study science, also believe in scientific things. Like I'm not one of those guys that just rejects everything that comes from science, because that's just for me, this is the way I look at it. I know you guys look at it differently.
Those are conflicting views, and agreements will never meet.
But you can't you cannot conveniently just disagree with anything science says that goes against the Bible. And you're finding one source, like one dude, right? And then you refer to the rest as
there's
just
more than one guy.
No, but hold on. But the overwhelming amount of scientists, not even close, right, will not tell you that the world is 12,000 years old. It's overwhelming. So if you're going to say, well, this scientist said something I like that coincides with my Bible, so therefore I believe him, and by golly, gee, this dude happens to be a creationist as well. I mean, you have to admit there's a conflict of interest there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
would there be one on the other side too, right?
All right. So, well, that's Genesis, right?
How about this? I gotta ask you guys a question.
Go ahead.
So I don't know about Reggie's stance. I know D-Style and Callie's. So do you guys? What is it you guys believe? How the Earth or the universe was created? You think it was Big Bang? Do you believe we came from evolution, like Darwinism? Just so I know what's what you guys are.
Well, I know it wasn't the way it says in the Bible. That I do know.
Oh, yeah, I know that. Obviously, you don't. But
I don't know, man. They're still learning.
It's okay to say that you don't know.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine. Man. That's fine.
I don't know, but as far as that religious shit, first thing I'm gonna tell you, reason why I don't believe in Christianity is because it was forced upon my people due to slavery. The same thing that happened to the natives, which I should say indigenous people, which would include the Native Americans in this country, and of course Native Americans in like Mexico and Mexico, even though Mexico's part of North America and in Canada and in South America, where Catholicism was forced upon the indigenous people. Man, that wasn't your religion. Christianity was forced due to rape and conquering. It was forced upon you, so it wasn't your original religion.
Okay. I want to just stop you right there because I actually agree with that. Okay. I'm not a Christian. I'm not a Catholic. I'm none of that. I just believe in an intelligence.
No, but you were basically you were basically standing up for the Bible.
But G-Funk, right. Let me put it this way, right? If you don't have to go to let me put to rest this whole I'm not religious thing, right? People think well, if I don't go to a specific church in a traditional sense, with a priest or a preacher, and I define myself as a Christian, then I'm not a religious person. No, if you take what the Bible says as some type of authority and truth, you have to be Christian by definition. The Bible is part of the Abrahamic religions. You can't disown that.
Well, I'll tell you this. Yeah. I mean, I heard you say if you believe in the Bible that you're basically a Christian, but that you won't even find Christianity in the Bible. Like it's nowhere there. The word itself is not even there. It's basically what the book is. It's a history book of a certain people is what it is. The churches teach you that it's the, you know, the end all be all for everybody on the earth, but really it's only written to one people. So I mean, I think that you guys have in my opinion, a more religious view on the Bible than I would.
No, because I don't take it literal, bro.
I mean, I don't. I just think it's
So
bullshit.
okay,
Yeah.
you know what? Let me take it to task with that, G-Funk. Okay, so let's put the term Christianity to the side. Let's put Catholicism to the side. Let's just cast all that aside, right? Do you believe Noah's Ark happened?
Absolutely.
No, G-Funk.
No, but hold on. No, hold on.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. Ask me any question you would like about it. I'm open to anything.
No. I want you to explain to us how Noah's Ark makes total sense. I just want you to explain that to us.
Okay, well, I would probably do better if you guys asked me questions about it. But here's what I'll say.
Okay.
There is a lot of evidence of a flood that happened a long time ago on this planet.
A lot of floods.
There's a lot of, not only from the Bible, but there's a lot of other ancient manuscripts from a lot of cultures around the world. I think there's like over 200 stories of a flood that occurred, including in one of our ancient history books, D Style, which is the Popol Vuh. It's clearly in there also. I mean, there's a lot of evidence that it happened. I know the questions you guys might probably ask me would be something like, you know, how do you get these animals and things like that onto this ark, right? So
how do you do that?
Well, it's pretty simple. If you think about it like this, now I heard you guys say something on the last show about how you know, when the story of Noah says that he was 900 and his kids were, I think, about they were up there as well in age. So here's what I would say. Now, if you were that old, you know, you would have to be a pretty well-experienced person at that point in your life, you know? So in order to save, let's say, all the land, it said the land-dwelling animals in the story. It didn't say the sea creatures. It just says the land-dwelling animals. You know, you would only have to take
thank
one.
God. I mean, the fish would have suffocated on the ark. Yeah, go ahead.
You would only have to take, you know, 2 sets of a kind of an animal. It wouldn't have to be every single type of an animal.
Do you know how many species of animals though on Earth, and that they all require different climates?
Yeah, absolutely.
So how would you make a climate accessible for every animal on Earth?
Well, that's why I said you don't have to have every single. You just have to have the kind. Like you wouldn't have to go out. Let's just take dogs for example. You wouldn't have to take every single dog. Like you wouldn't have to take
you wouldn't have to have a polar
Rottweiler.
bear. You wouldn't have to have a polar bear. Polar bear and the grizzly bear, they're different.
But they come from one type of bear, right?
So you're saying they're just gonna they're gonna do a genetic and they're gonna make a new one?
How about this?
Oh, man.
So you're telling me that they didn't take all the cats, they just took the lion or something like that, or what?
Just one type of cat would create all the cats, right? I mean, we've seen
how
breeding works, right?
So how does someone have the little house cats? Like, how do they go like from Noah's Ark, right? If you just like, are you telling me these types of cats existed? Like those already tigers, but they drowned all of them and they just took the lion, and then somehow the lion recreated the tiger again. That's what you're saying?
Well, we don't know which type he took because it doesn't.
So the tiger created the domestic cat too.
Now you do understand, but let me just say this: in order for you to believe that, right? Even though this doesn't you're like in a weird way, arguing that these animals evolved, right, into other types of cats later on after the ark. So you would have to believe in evolution for you to even say that.
I was waiting for you to say that.
No.
After that, let me ask you a question.
Coincide with creationism, though.
All right, let me answer that, and then I'll answer another question. Here's what I'll say to that is, we know that there's a thing. I think it's called either micro or macro evolution, which is basically variations of kinds. So that's a thing that we can obviously see. We see that happen all the time with people breeding animals. Let's just say dogs, for example. We see them make all kind of strange type of dogs nowadays by doing that. So yes, that is something that is real and that happens. We see it. What we don't see is apes turning into people, which is a part of one of the main arguments for evolution.
You cannot see something that happens over a course of 100,000 years. You know what I mean?
Well,
So that's kind of weird. But you cannot just believe in it when it's convenient to you, and not believe in it when it's not convenient to you. But
it's not a convenience
but
because
I'm sorry, Rich,
it's something that happens that we see. That's science, right? Things that we see.
No. You don't believe in science. Go ahead, Rich.
No, I do believe in science.
Let me ask a question about the narc. I mean, so with not the ark. With the ark, were these baby species of animals or adult species? Because the reason I asked that question is because the amount of care it'll take for one person to get these animals, raising them on a ship into adulthood, it's a tall task for one person to go about, and it's almost impossible. And also, if these are adult animals, you're carrying cats. These cats require meat. So where are you getting this meat from?
That's a great question. And it doesn't specifically say. If we read the story, I don't know if you guys have actually read the story or not, but it doesn't specifically say whether they're full-grown adult or I shouldn't say adult, but full-grown animals or baby animals. I would assume baby animals because, like you said, Reggie, it would be more likely that you could pack more things onto this ark when you have smaller animals. You don't have to bring as much food and so on. So that would be my answer, is that they were most likely small animals.
And then
so he's nurturing all of those babies.
Because with these small animals,
some of the animals
they need milk.
So let me get to the heart of the issue, right? Is there any proof that Noah even existed? No. Is there any proof that there was a worldwide flood that killed all mankind or some shit like that? No. Is there any proof of this ark actually existing? No, there is not. Okay, I know that I've heard stories about, it's in India and all this other shit. No proof of it whatsoever. There's no proof that this family existed.
Turkey,
whatever. Okay, but there's no proof that was the ark. That there's no proof of that. There's no proof of these animals being in this ark. There is no proof that Noah himself went all around the world, put these animals back in their own habitat. Okay, and also the nonsense. Right?
Well, there is evidence. There is evidence.
What's the evidence?
They went to that mountain in Mount Ararat in Turkey, where the satellite pictures found what looked like to be a ship type of shape in this mountain. They went down there and they actually did find wood down there. They even showed signs of what's called pitch, is what the Bible talks about. Pitch is basically like tree sap, is what they used to also build the ark with. Not only that, you find, and this is something you can look up. I have it, again, it's all mixed up in my phone, so I'm having trouble finding everything that I want to use here. But there is fossils of clams, in the closed position now, not dead clams, but live clams in the closed position near the top of Mount Everest. I mean, so you find even fossils of sea creatures up in these high mountains. So I mean, there is evidence there, you know.
Well, who told you that, man? Don't tell me it must have been some creationist scientist who said he found all that shit. Just
are you sure? You're positive you found? You're positive that all this information you're giving me is not just like all these they found wood over here and they found these sea creatures over here. Like, you're telling me that all these things, they didn't just coincidentally just said, obviously it's just part of the obvious flood of this dude that we have no proof that even existed, right? Like you're positive it's not just, just something that was put together by creation.
Well, I'm not 100% positive because I'm not a scientist, and I didn't go to Mount Everest. I've never climbed Mount Everest. I've never been to Turkey. all I could do is with you guys just share the information that I have. Now, what you guys want to do with it is your decision. But what I would tell you is this: everything that I'm going to say here tonight to you guys, whether you accept what my answer is or not, it can easily be looked up. So that's what I would say. If you don't believe me, then you can just look it up for yourself, the information. I'm still looking for the article. I believe it was in Time magazine as well, where they found these clams, the fossils of these clams in the closed position on Mount Everest. But
you
also
think that's proof? Like, you don't think there's any other way they could have gotten there? It had to be from a flood, from a story in the Bible where they got all these animals together, right? And it has to be from that. Like, you're linking.
Well, it's not only from the Bible. It's from, like I said, a lot of ancient cultures have this same story.
Well, a lot of people have gone through floods, bro. Okay, like I could imagine a hurricane
what would be
catastrophic to ancient people.
Well, I would ask you, what would be your explanation to why there would be fossils of clams in a close position on Mount Everest?
Well, one, I would have to look into that. Okay, like as far as that goes, I need to know the source of that. And let's say there is clams in Mount Everest. There is no proof that it's tied, okay, to an ancient flood that happened, and then a dude called Noah with his family put a bunch of animals, okay, in an ark that he made all by himself. Okay, that's not proof of that, bro.
Well, he didn't make it by himself. He made it with his sons. But this is how I know you guys haven't read the story yet. But that's
I
cool,
get it.
you know?
Like, you're saying that like that just makes it sound better. Like oh, but he had help from his sons. Like what do you mean?
Yeah, it was. But now I'm correcting what you said. He said he built it by himself. That's what I'm doing.
Okay, well, I mean, I believe I did say it with his family, but by himself with his family. But either way, that's what's called. It's not here nor there. It doesn't prove your point.
Right.
You know, but Kelly, Reggie, anything you want to say?
Yeah, man.
A lot of that, the Bible belief is something that's driven into people at an early age in childhood, and they go on to accept it. And a lot of reasons, like I stated, I grew up in church, and when I used to listen to a lot of stuff they used to teach us in the Bible, because I was always like a kid that was a nerd about learning things. And when it came to what I was learning, hearing stuff out the Bible, none of the stuff added up. Everything had a contradiction. When I asked a question, there was never a way of clearing things up. It was just the contradictions were left, and it's just, well, God did this and that. It just pushed me to where I sat in Sunday school and never listened to one bit of what's being spoken. That's why me reciting anything out the Bible, I can't do it for you. But a lot of what went on with the church, and even speaking about how people are forcing religion, like with slavery, not only slaves were done that way. A lot of people all throughout European societies were forced into the acceptance of what was written in the Bible by whoever controlled the countries that wrote the Bible. This is nothing has to do in the Bible with being God's words or any of that. But the church had people believing that the earth was the center of the universe. Everything revolved around it. And anytime any scientist went about trying to clear that up and come in with more scientific evidence, the church crushed them. So it's hard for a lot of people to break away from those beliefs of the Bible.
I've actually found the article. I didn't mean to cut you guys off. But I did find the article here. Now it's a little blurry because it's a very old picture, and I got it from the internet. I got a screenshot of it. But basically, it's saying that a climber reaches the top of Mount Everest, finds remains of animals that once lived in the sea, and the top of this mountain is from Holt Modern Earth Science, 1983. Page 207. So there's my source right there.
Got anything, Kelly? I think Kelly went silent. I don't know what happened, Kelly. I want to ask you this, G-Funk. Okay.
I think there's somebody in the back. Is there somebody trying to join as well?
I'm not sure, but we're talking to you right now.
Okay, go ahead.
Take a wait.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so if you look at this, right, from this perspective, and Kelly's gone. Let me ask you this, right? Now regarding that source, right? Mm-hmm. To you, let's say we're going to do this. So let's play this game. Let's say everything in that article is true. Let's say there's a clam on top of Mount Everest that's closed, and there's remains of animals that are, what did you say, like from other parts of the world, something like that?
Let me get it. Let me zoom in on it real quick.
Rough estimate, like what would?
Hold on. It said, okay, climbers reaching the top of Mount Everest plant their victory flags over the remains of animals that once lived in the sea.
Okay, what animals were this? Like, did they say what animals it was?
No, it doesn't say. I don't, and not in this screenshot. Not in the screenshot, but
Can somebody find a source? Can somebody give me the link? Like, I want to know which, and I also want to know how they tested this. Like, I want to confirm, but let's assume it's confirmed.
Yeah, it was, right? I mean, it's a science magazine, Holt Modern Science, Earth Science.
But hold on, okay? You can't just believe scientists when it coincides with you. Like, we have to take the science as a whole. We already know what the vast majority of scientists say, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to get to the heart of it. Let's say everything, we don't know this yet, but let's say everything you said is true. Okay.
Not me. I didn't say this. That's
no. Let's just assume it is. Let's just assume it is.
No, but you keep saying what I'm saying. I'm not saying anything.
Well, you do believe it, though.
I believe it, but it's written by somebody else.
Yeah. So either way, you believe it. Let's say everything that's on there is true, right? It doesn't prove that some man created an ark and put all these animals in an ark, right? Like all together, and then saved all these animals from a devastating flood, right? To restore humanity or whatever the story says, okay? But here's what I want to get to, right? It doesn't prove that, G-Funk. I just hope you understand that. But let's do this, though, right? So one, are you suggesting that the water reached so high that it was at the tip of Mount Everest? That's number one, okay? And that, I guess it fell out of the ark. I guess that's what you're saying. I'm not sure, but I want to get to the heart of that, okay? Second, and I did send you the link, Callie. I want to know this, the heart of the story, not the mechanics of the story. If God wanted to, like, explain to me exactly why God had to go that course. Why did he have to do a worldwide flood when he's God? Like, he could just literally just say, spare the animals, let me just kill everybody. Boom. He could just do it, right? Like, he has the power to just kill them all with a virus or just something a little more, faster, quicker. Like, why put on a show? Why did God do the whole flood thing? Right. And it's not like he wanted witnesses around. I mean, he wiped them all out. Right. He just spared the family of Noah or whatever. Right. Why do that whole? And then not only that, were there kids that got killed in the flood too? Like, what did the kids have to do with anything? Like, did he just murder just because mankind got corrupt? And so he had to do a flood. And then on top of that,
That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what would be my answer to what you just said.
Okay, and so what about the children that were with them? What fault did they have?
They're right. What I can tell you is this: what the story says is that he was angry with mankind, and that's why he did it. So everybody had to go.
I mean, let's leave aside, I don't believe the story, but even if the story were true, this is a very evil God by the way you're describing it. Like this is not like a loving God. You know what I mean?
Okay, let me if I could, let me pull up a verse because I pulled the verses last time.
If man could get so corrupt like that, why did he cut that deal? I forget what they call it, the covenant, whatever, where he's never going to do it again. He's never going to flood mankind ever again. He's never going to drown him. He's never going to kill him by that way again. The next way is fire or something like that, right? I just want to understand what, like that. I just want to understand that.
So I want to read this real quick.
And then I'm talking too much, so I'll let Kelly and Reggie go after you. Go ahead.
So this is from the book of Isaiah, chapter 45, verse 7, where it says, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. So he does create all that, everything, including who people call the devil or Satan himself. He created all of that. Now, again, I don't want to turn this into a Bible study because, you know, obviously you guys don't believe it. So there's no reason.
Give us a crash course. Go ahead.
So there'd be no reason again. But like I said, when we first started, the book is not, it's a history book about a certain group of people. It's not about everybody. So, I mean, you know, you ask me questions about what about this? What about these and these people? It's not about them. It's about a group of people. It's a history book for a group of people, which were the Jews, basically. So it's again, it gets complicated when you try to break it down to people that haven't really studied it. Here's what I want to do, though, if we can. Now, I know it's your show, D-Style. I'm not trying to take over, you know, but I would like to address some of the things that I heard in the last show about the verses in Deuteronomy and the rape thing.
Before you do that, I want to ask a question about.
Because I got people waiting in the line, but I just want, before you jump into that, I want Callie to give his go, and when Reggie give his go, then I'll let whoever else is on, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
What I want to ask you, G Funky, is this. Okay, you said that God created everything, right? And you know, I'm pretty sure because you say you're not a Christian, man, but you believe the Bible, man. You're a Christian. What I just want to know is, if God is omnipotent and all-knowing, then first thing, it doesn't make any sense that God can't create a rock that he can't pick up. Doesn't make any sense. And if God is all-knowing, then there's no free will. See, if he already knows what you're going to do before you're born, then there's no free will. Everybody who believes in Christianity, and you Christian, I'm calling you a Christian because you believe in the Bible, states that, yeah, God does know, all-knowing. God is all-knowing. He knows what you're going to do before you're born. So he's creating people in order to send them to hell.
Again,
when you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that because, again,
so he's creating people and knowing that he's going to send them out. So he's like, I'm going to make you because I want to send you to hell.
The thing is this. Again, keep this in mind, guys. The God of the Bible is only the God of certain people. That's what you guys got to understand.
So you're saying there's several gods, even though religion pretty much is determined by geography.
Well, can I just ask, do you think Jesus Christ is the Savior and all that, Reggie? I'm sorry, G-Funk.
The Savior of his people.
So you're like a Christian, not a Christian yourself, but you're a Christian spectator.
I mean, I'm not Christian at all. I'm just gonna say this real quickly.
But why do you believe in the Bible then?
I don't do things that Christians do. Like, I don't celebrate Christmas. I don't celebrate Easter. You know, I heard you guys say last time about, you know, all the pagan holidays that the churches.
Right.
I agree 100% with you guys on that. 100%. Those things have nothing to do with the Bible.
Hold that thought, because I want to get some other people on real quick. But stay on G-Funk.
Okay.
Before I get them on, anything you want to add, Reggie, really quick?
No, that was it.
Okay, some dudes, I don't know who they are, but B&B Boxing looks familiar, so I'll let him on. What's going on, B&B?
What's up with y'all?
What's happening, bro?
Floor is yours. Go ahead.
Just enjoying this discussion, sitting up here thinking about it. I think, you know, the argument on both ways, it goes both ways. Everybody on the panel don't accept. I accept it because I read. I ain't been in the game. I'm not a practicing Christian because, you know, I'm a little bit of a holy. You know what I'm saying? So I can't speak on it, but I do believe in it. The reason why I believe in it is because I didn't only read, I studied to convince me. Like, okay, like when you're talking about these creative days, you know what I'm saying? You got to think in terms of in the way that you read. It's not going to explain everything, but a lot of scientists do go by what the Bible says and checks, and then go and practice their science. This is what the quietest thing that they want to get away from. But the majority of the scientific community subscribes to the theory of evolution, which is not proven, which is not a fact. You know, which is conjecture. You know what I'm saying?
That's not true. That's absolutely
true.
not true.
Oh,
Evolution
hold
has
on,
been
hold on.
proven.
Okay, like,
Gotta,
let's
no,
get on
no,
this.
Kevin,
Go ahead.
you spoke. So you know what I'm saying. You just look up what it says about theory. You know, and one of the things it said is unproven assumption. You know what I'm saying, which is conjecture formed on the basis of incomplete information. So what the scientists have done has went to try to fill in the gaps in order for you to understand. Now the Bible is not taught from what I've learned from my study of the Bible. It's not talking about like a day or each day for 6,000 years. These creative days happen over hundreds of thousands, even possibly millions. The thing about it is what everybody says, no one knows how long this took. So it's described in a way everything can't be put in there. But the thing about it is that when you read it, and a lot of scientists have come back and said the way that it's explained does have scientific merit.
So if you don't like, let me ask you this. And then after I'll let Kelly go after you answer. All right. But you're saying that scientists look at the Bible and then they go and see, that does sound like they're looking for confirmation bias if that's what they're doing. But leaving that aside.
Confirmation, they looking for confirmation and they looking to disprove. They need evidence because the way things have went about, they're trying to understand how these processes happen.
So I got you when you say it's not talking about a day like we know a day, right? That would make sense if it didn't say the plants were created first and then on day 4, even though you don't consider them a day like we know a day, the sun is created. That's kind of odd.
Right. It's when you read Genesis, you gotta kind of you gotta understand the way it's being read. Those days and the way it's explained, we'll have to read it. I have to read it again, but I understand it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not trying to prove it against science. But I understand it with what I've learned from science. You get what I'm saying? So it's going the whole couple first books of the Bible is kind of going back and forth and explaining because it talks about man being created at a certain part of time and then it goes into the actual story of them being created. So it's really going back and forth. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Well, what's you? I know you wanted to talk, Kelly. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. Let me ask you something. I know you're believing in the Bible and things of that nature. Do you believe in the story of Jesus Christ?
I already know where you're going with this, Callie.
Yes. Do you believe in the story of Jesus Christ? Do you believe in the story of Jesus Christ? You do. So you do know that
I absolutely do.
Before, right?
Huh?
You know that Gilgamesh and that he came before too, right? Same story.
Yeah. I understand that.
So why do you believe in Jesus Christ, even though they pretty much use the same story from other saviors?
Well, you want me? I'll give you my explanation from the stuff that I learned. For one thing that I've learned is that dang near every culture on the surface of the ground have the same story relating to the same thing.
No, but those stories
when it comes to Egypt, it predates. This is what I'm giving you. So it predates, and this cannot be a coincidence. This is for these people who we say that never known each other.
Somebody's story.
Look, the Europeans got the story from Africa and the Middle East. That's where they got the story from, right?
Yep.
Okay, so they took it and they owned it, and then they distributed information out based upon how they want to give you the evidence or what they feel, what they got from it. So your best bet is to go back and study and see what happened. So that's what I did, because simple fact is that the same story has been produced in societies whom they said that they had no connection with, but they all have the same story. How is this possible?
People travel, man.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question real quick, Callie?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
Could you list the what makes the story similar? Can you list some things off? Just it don't have to be everything, just some things.
Virgin Mother. And...
Yeah, the virgin born on the 25th.
I mean,
Virgin
let
Mother,
me
Lord of the Savior.
Okay, so here's what I would say to that.
Do you think like a virgin woman gave birth to a baby?
No, that's not in the Bible. That's not in the Bible.
I'm just saying. Okay.
Yeah, it's not in the Bible. It's not there.
Well, what was the Bible? See, we got to understand what the Bible was written for.
You see, but here's the thing, though. There's so many versions of the Bible. We also know that the original is one of the
yeah. And when I used to study, I had a collection of books, the Bible.
Yeah, the first book of Abraham.
And studied out of all of them.
Let's let B&B finish. Go ahead.
And studied out of all of them. And so when you break things down, you just can't read it. You have to actually, even some of the words, you got to pull out dictionaries and old definitions for the meanings of words. That's you know right. What I'm saying? In order for you to understand, because you just can't read it on the surface. I know plenty of people that went to church their whole entire life and can't tell me not one thing that's in it. You know what I'm saying? So
I want you to tell me if you can, right? Because when you go back and you look at definitions and all that, right, and you studied it, why would it say that the plants were created before the sun was created 4 days later? Which apparently it's not just a day. I mean, we're talking a long time. Like this isn't making sense. I want you to make sense for it for me.
Well, the thing about it is you got to think about how it was given. It was given through divine inspiration.
Oh Lord.
So, by you got to think in the context that things were being explained through divine inspiration, because they couldn't go back because it was written in 1530 BCE by Moses, right, in Mount Sinai, right, when they were in the desert. That's when it was written. But it comes from a bunch of stories that because handwriting came before all of this happened. So apparently there were documents that they had that they could relate to and stories being told. You know what I'm saying? Word of mouth education wasn't that big right now back then, but word of mouth and storytelling, that was the thing of the day. That's how everybody got their information, because a lot of people were illiterate back then.
Well, hold on. You just said it. You just admitted that most of the people were illiterate back then. So we know that illiteracy was at a high rate. So what makes you think that what they were putting together was bullshit? And on top of this too, then, man, if you believe in the Bible, then when you say God is evil, the fact that he condones slavery.
He didn't condone slavery. I've been listening to you for a while, and you picking and choosing. You picking and choosing. Yes, you are.
Kelly,
yes, you are, Kelly.
Yes, you are. I want to ask you.
Hold up, guys. Hold up. So just so we go, like, we'll move to the slavery topic next, and I'll let you guys go first. G-Funk, go ahead and ask your question, and then I want to know if Reggie has anything to say, then we'll move on to the slavery topic.
Okay, I just want to ask Callie, since you're going to pull up a verse, you just said that one of the similarities from story to story about Christ was the Virgin Mother. So if you could you pull up Matthew chapter 1 for me and read that for me?
Let's save some time. It says she's not a virgin. What's the point of this? What's going on?
Well, I'll read it real quick. Okay. I got it real quick.
Right.
It'll take me a few seconds. But I just want to prove that is not in the Bible. That's Christianity that teaches that. That's Catholicism that teaches.
Before
that.
You read it, G-Funk, can you tell me what virgin of the Bible you're reading?
I read the King James version.
The King James. Okay, yeah. So it's an altered version. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, of course it's altered, yeah, because it's translated. But Matthew chapter 1, verse 1, the very first verse in this book in the New Testament says, the book of the generations of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. So it goes on and on for another, let me see, another 16 verses. Basically, naming people from the past. It's lineage is what it's naming. It's naming his father's lineage, which is Joseph, which is his biological father. Not only is it here, but it's also in the book of Luke. So if he was born immaculately, like it's been taught to us for so many years, why would they even put that there? Because what they've been teaching us in the church is a lie. That's not there.
Go ahead, Kelly. I'm not sure if you have anything to respond to that, but
Oh man, I really don't care about that. To me, it's, the Bible said bullshit. But there are Bible
Bullshit,
verses,
your
there's
favorite
Bible-
word.
No, there ain't no, cause it is. There are Bible verses and shit like that. Behold, the virgin shall be the child and shall bear a son, and thou shalt call his name Emmanuel, and all this other bullshit that comes in at Luke. To a virgin engaged to a man whose name was Joseph, of the descendants of David,
I mean,
and the virgin
it
whose
is.
name was Mary.
If B&B
Well,
did-
the reason why they could go to succession of his genealogy, because at that particular time, you know, the Israelites were still a state, and in 70 CE their records got destroyed. So that's why they could actually go back and actually, before when Matthew was written, they could go into the records in Jerusalem and find his genealogy, because they kept record of who was born and whose father they were. You know what I'm saying? So at the time that this was written, it was written about what they
Here's another
a couple centuries after he died. You know what I'm saying? So they could go back and find the records. You can't find records of the Israelites. They burned the city down.
Well, here's another verse I can read real quick. In the same chapter, verse 19, it says, "Then Joseph, her husband." So again, he's saying that
but I
it's
thought
her husband, and you cannot be married. Hebrew customs, marriage is sex. So there has to be some sort of something going down there in order for this to happen. So again, the Bible itself proves it.
You got to G-Funk. You got to remember too that it also speaks about, I think it's in Luke or John, that Joseph was secretly getting ready to divorce her, because he did not want to humiliate her. You know what I'm saying? Because she was pregnant, and he did not bring her home in the normal custom of the day. He was going. The reason why he didn't want to publicly humiliate her, because they would kill her, because he did not lay down with her. And you know what I'm saying? So
that was more of a thing, because again, like we have in the church today, you see some people, if a girl gets knocked up out of nowhere, you know, they're gonna try to hide it. So that's basically what happened. Was they were already promised to each other through the fathers. It happened. So, you know, of course people are gonna look at them like that. But again, there would be no reason for them to put Joseph's lineage there if he wasn't his real father. You know what I'm saying? Like that would just be, there would be no point in that at all if he was born immaculately, you know.
Well, you gotta believe his story. I mean, it's what happened.
So
But if
B&B,
you don't
I just want
believe,
to
then you
confirm.
can't say that.
Oh, hold on. I think so. You do believe she was a virgin?
Yeah, I believe she was a virgin. Yeah.
So you both studied.
You can laugh if you want. You can laugh if you want, Callie. I'll be laughing at you all day. With the shit you say. Yeah.
No, man, y'all shit, bro. Y'all shit is fucking hilarious. Straight
No,
fucking
nigga,
comedy.
I laugh at you all day. Trust me.
No, but hold on.
Bro, I'm laughing at you, bro.
Yes,
Your
yes.
shit is
So
comedy.
B&B, what do you make of this?
But-
Revelation 22 verse
Here we go.
16. I'm sorry. This is my last one. This is my last one, D-Style. I promise. This is my last one. Just to prove my point. Revelation 22:16 says, and this is in red letters, so this means this is Christ's own words. He says, I, Jesus, have sent my angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David, and I am bright and the morning star. So he's telling you himself, he's the root and the offspring of David.
Well, first of all, G-Funk, you're reading the King James version with an altered version. That's number one. But number two,
because Joseph wasn't. Mary was of the offspring of David. Joseph wasn't.
That's not what's written in Matthew. It's listing Joseph's lineage. Not Mary's.
We got the two theologians going at it right now, but hold on. This is supposed to be a debate with y'all, with us, okay? Like, but hold on.
Nah, we can get into it. I'll look it up. So I'll look it up some more to confirm myself.
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good.
Okay. So, as Zealots of Israel, if that's you, bro, let me know. If I don't recognize the names, like just trolls out here, I don't want to like turn it on to some naked dude on camera or some shit. You know what I mean? So I need to recognize who it is. Just FYI, guys. Okay. But anyway, I want to just get to the heart of this. So, BNB, you say you studied the Bible and you come up with the conclusion that she was a virgin, or you know what I mean? Chief Funk said he studied the Bible and he's coming up with the conclusion that she's not a virgin. Right? All right. So I mean, I don't want to dive into that because I do want to get to the next topic, right? But
well, he on G Funk on the fence. He's not sure yet. He's not sure.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sure.
I just know, man. Like I know that, like you said, right? You have to believe in the story. I just gotta be honest.
Well, look. Let me say something. Let me say
a girl came out today and she said, like the angel came down. That's why I'm pregnant. Nobody would believe her. Like nobody would believe that.
Right. No, nobody would. You know what I'm saying? But the guys that each are based off the same story. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So I mean, when you look at it, I'm gonna tell you this is my thing. You know what I'm saying? But because of this same story has been passed from civilization, from the gods that they worship and stuff like this, and I do believe in the Bible. I ain't gonna lie about it. You know what I'm saying? But since the story has been told, and you got to figure out what the whole Bible is written about. I know you guys don't believe in it, but it has a creation story that's really about man's.
You admit that there's a leap of faith because it's theology, so you have to have a leap.
Well,
of
you
faith.
I don't believe faith in the same way that people believe it. Like what the Bible describes, I think is a Hebrew 7:1 is assured expectation of the things hoped for, the evident realities though not beheld. You know what I'm saying? So now, and it's got to be given through proof. So you know what I mean, and it's done spiritually. The Bible is written physically, but you got to understand the spirit behind it. Okay. But if you don't understand the spirit behind it, then a lot of things you'll read, you're not gonna understand what it's saying. Because
go ahead, Kelly.
I'm just confused by, especially people who are from over here in America, who knows that that religion was forced upon your people, whether you believe that they're from America or not. There was no Christianity over in North or South America until it was brought over by the Spaniards and by the British. There was no Christianity over, and it was forced upon the people. So for you to believe that shit, and for you to believe that is something else. It just, to me, it baffles me for people to believe such actual nonsense. And not just that.
We have somebody that believes in it, Kelly, right now on the line.
I know. All the prayers that you guys pray for on a regular basis that do not come true. All of the and it's like people say, well, if they died, it's because God needed them. A baby that was only 1 day old died.
I don't believe that.
God need.
I don't believe that either.
That's what the church has told you. That's what you hear. That's why I understand why you don't like. Why you don't like. I understand.
I'm not finished yet.
I've had plenty of conversations with people about this.
I'm not finished yet. I'm gonna let you go. Like I said, but why the fuck does God need to continue to kill babies? It doesn't make any sense. Like I said, at the end of the day, there's no evidence of a God. If you can demonstrate to me that a God exists, and that's what I'm challenging the both of you. Demonstrate to me that a God exists, and don't point to the clouds, don't point to the stars, don't point to the trees and the mountains,
Callie,
and people walking around breathing.
Hey, Callie, look. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. Hold on. Let me say this for Callie real quick.
Go ahead, BB, and then I need to
look. This is what I'm gonna do, because you know what I'm saying. I don't go there. I'm not gonna prove anything to you. I'm gonna allow you to go ahead and sit over there with that conversation and keep believing everything that you believe.
Oh,
You know
so
what
you
I'm
have no
saying?
evidence.
So
Translation, I have no evidence.
No, translation
Translation, I
is
can't
this.
prove it.
Translation is this. There's no point in arguing with somebody who already has their own conviction. So I'm not gonna
No.
convince you of
If you
anything.
can demonstrate to me that one exists, I will believe
I'm
it.
not
That's
gonna
where I'm
do
at.
it.
I
No,
don't
your
believe
mind,
that God
I
exists because there's
genuinely
no
want
evidence
to.
of
your
one.
mind is already closed.
No.
I'm not interested.
That's not true. You can't speak for me.
Hold on.
I'm telling you right now, if you can demonstrate to me that a God exists, I will believe. Only reason I don't believe, just like I said, I can't prove that a God doesn't exist. But if you can prove to me that one does, then I'll believe. I don't believe in things unless something can be proven
So
to me that it does.
So let's do this. Let me let Big Brian out. What's going on, bro? Big Brian, you there?
It was good, D-Style. Was good, panel.
All right.
What's
So
going on, bro?
the floor is yours. Tell me what you want to know or say or whatever. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just wanted to come on because I am one of them guys that be teaching the street course, teaching the Bible from a Hebrew Israelite perspective. So jumping on the topic, on the whole aspect of God, if there's a God that exists and whatnot. Well, my whole, and it's like this. I mean, of course, people have the different talking points, right? Don't point to the stars, don't point to all these things that we see, but it's like, well, by science, right? If we go just look at the science of the human anatomy, the body, how the arteries work, how the large and small intestines work, right? Everything that we see, the structure of our body, the way the course of nature is done, it would have to be done. It would have to be created. It can't just you can't form yourself. A car can't create itself, right?
You cannot just form yourselves. How did God create himself?
Well, you can't. Well, is it hard to fathom of some being omnipotent?
It is. Is it hard to fathom? Yes.
I think what I'm hearing here is that they won't accept. They just won't accept any evidence from what I'm hearing, and I'm not trying to be mean.
That's why I'm not
or
gonna
anything.
have the conversation,
You know
because
like
if you don't believe that there
I
is something more
I just
powerful than
I just want to know what.
No,
I just
hold
want
on.
to know, what would you guys accept as evidence? Would you have to physically see him?
Well, you have to have
Oh, that he's boasting.
Okay,
The subatomic particle known as a God
Hold
particle.
on, because Big Brian just came out, so I want to make sure he's finished. Go ahead, Big Brian. Go ahead.
Just with that thought, right now, because we can go through because also too just summarizing the points that you guys were talking about. Well, what about the evidence of the Ark of Noah? Which there are different references. I even have a particular book that shows different references to that. But in particular, right, just dealing with the whole thing, prove these things and to be factual and whatnot. Well, this Egypt, Babylon, what you call it, what's his name, Nimrod. His concepts, is very similar to the scriptures that predates that. But it's like this, right?
Dang, who breathing on hard?
Yeah, somebody got some background noise. Bad.
Yeah, go on mute. Y'all gotta go on mute.
Yeah, so if we understand all these different civilizations, like we can go, like even if we go into the Middle Ages, I mean, we deal with the indigenous people of Americas, right? There's different particular gods that they worship. There's gods of the Canaanites, of the Egyptians, the people of Nubia, that they worship. Everybody had a concept of worshiping a particular entity or being. So there would have to be one originator from that particular concept. Now, whether someone chooses to believe that, that's up to you. But that's where my answer, my whole talking point would be on that. There would have to be an originator or a progenitor of that concept from someone else.
But look, check this out. Check this out. We having a discussion about this, right? And so the same people, and for most people on this panel, believe in the science that comes from the same people that gave you the Bible. These are the same people that fund science, that actually funded the creation of these empires to produce you the Bible. And so now you question what the Bible says when it comes from the same source, which the scientists who get their money from these people who fund this, which these evolutionary theories didn't come into play until the 19th century, but all the past civilizations, the ancient cultures, all had a concept of a creator prior to the 19th century. Okay. Now these things were developing in the late 1700s, but in the 19th century, in the 1800s, that's when these things came about being as far as evolution is concerned. So this new concept and this new form of worship, which everybody's saying, all right, chump the Bible, we're gonna go with science. Now, this relatively young thing has permeated people's minds so much that you will not be able to get that until they get off this. You can't do it. It's an endless conversation, because if you believe in the theory of evolution, you're probably an atheist.
But listen, Ben,
you know what I'm saying?
Hold on. Let me say this really quick.
Let me go after you.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Reggie go, but saying like what you just said, right? Like the automobile wasn't invented till like this last century. It doesn't mean it's not effective. You can't say, oh man, everybody's using this new technology called the automobile. Well, like everybody was on horseback, and donkeys and all that before that. That is a more effective way of travel. Okay, you can't say that. Like if a more superior explanation comes along, right? Like, at one time they thought thunder and lightning was from the god Thor, right? They thought that first, but they were wrong. Many religious beliefs have been proven to be flat out wrong, right? So it's
like, which ones?
Many of them. I just named you
one.
All of them. But can I ask you something else too?
But I want to let Reggie go though. I want to let Reggie go. Go ahead, Reggie.
Okay. You hit on everything I was about to say about how people stay so locked into this ancient book, and they reject every answer that's been given by science, and everything science has done to advance things to where too many people get locked into this ancient situation of this book, which does nothing. And you look into a lot of people who refuse to accept science, and they lock into their old ancient ways and beliefs, and they stay so far behind the advancing of their societies. And this is what cripples them ultimately. This has been the doom of many of these once upon a time great empires. As science starts to advance, you start getting realistic answers to many of the questions that are out there. Where did life begin? Where do we come from? And the discovery of many things. You got to break away from that thing of thinking this 1,000-year-old book is the answer to everything, when most of the things in it are being proven that it's wrong.
And let me say this before we get to the slavery thing really quick, okay? Look, man, all right, you guys are projecting, all right? Like you're saying, no, you guys just won't accept any explanation. You guys shut off, and this always happens. You shut off and you said, oh, you see, I can't have a conversation with you. You're unreasonable. Just because Callie asked, provide me proof of your God. Like that's literally all he asked. And it becomes, oh, T, you're not going to accept any explanation at all. Like if I read the scripture. You guys did say that.
I just think his mind. What I said was, I just think his mind is made up, and no matter what you're gonna say,
but it's not true.
It's not true. It's not true. Okay,
it's not true. But if you can demonstrate to me that God exists, then I can believe. But you got to demonstrate to me.
I keep hearing like the only time science matters is when somehow it conveniently coincides with something on the Bible. If science is something that does not coincide with the Bible, all of a sudden it's some conspiracy. It's being called a religion. Science is not a religion. Okay, atheism is not a religion. Okay, being agnostic is not being religious. It's the opposite of that. That's not what that means. And I want to go back to something I said when Brian told me, is it hard to imagine a God? Yes, it is. In fact, religious people tell me all the time, we can't possibly comprehend the concept of a God, right? That we have to be a little more consistent when that question is brought up, it does not mean at all that I don't believe there's a possibility that a superior being can be out there and somehow influence like our, existence. What I'm arguing is that book does not explain any of that. Okay, at all. And I have yet to hear any concrete evidence. I keep hearing, well, this is what the story says, and then, well, they found some closed clamp like up in Mount Everest, and somehow that's supposed to connect the dots. That's not connecting the dots. That's not direct evidence. If you whatsoever, right? That's all I'm arguing, right? But I do want to get to this.
Hold on. Before you say that, D-Style, I want to say this. There's 4,200 religions on Earth right now. So basically, everybody and anybody who's a part of those 4,200 religions believe they're right. How do you know if you picked the right religion? If to say that one of the religions are right, how do you know that you picked the right one?
Hey, can I answer that? Can I answer that real quick?
Go ahead,
Callie. Well, because I'm always asked this because I get in these type of conversations on the streets or, just in my daily life. I'm sitting up here, having this type of discussions. It's always a good question to ask. Here's my answer that I would express to you and anybody else, right? Whether you to agree or disagree. The reason why I know for myself, at least from the truth of what I've seen from the Bible, from studying it from myself and the people that I've learned from, not the Christian church, mind you, but from myself and from the books that I have, the many hundreds of books that I have that backs up the validity, the history of the scriptures, is that when you deal with the scriptures, it deals with the prophets of the people of the book, which are the Israelites, right? And the prophets have spoken of the things that happened before time, that's happening now, and that's going to happen in the near future, like World War II, World War III. I mean, the downfall of the Roman Empire. I mean, of the ancient Roman Empire. I mean, these things are talked about like nuclear missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles are told in the scriptures.
Okay, so
there's no concept of any of that, any prophecy that.
Can I try an experiment really quick?
On to this day, of any religion. Go ahead.
Okay, let me try this experiment. Do you believe the Earth is flat? Big Brian, is the Earth flat or round?
But,
no, but what do you believe? Do you believe it's round? Do you believe it's flat?
I believe it's round. I believe that we're possibly in a dome. Yeah, but it's round.
So you believe we're in a dome? Does it say that in the Bible? Is that something you get from the Bible?
Yeah. In the scriptures, it talks about us being about Earth being in a firmament, and that's pretty much what the dome is.
So you're from the Bible. You studied it, right? All that. You believe it's in a dome. B&B, do you believe there's flat, dome, globe?
No, I'm looking for the scripture that clearly says that the Bible is a circle. I mean, the world is a circle. I don't believe we live in the dome. And no, I believe that the earth is round. I don't believe in flat earth theory at all. Okay,
G-Funk, what do you believe?
I'm kind of on the fence. Like you're on the fence about, whether, there's God or not. What I will say is this: I lean more towards it being a sphere or a globe, whatever you want to call it, because I think there's more evidence towards that. But I've never been out there in space to see if it's flat or round or whatever. But I think there's more evidence that proves
because you never seen God.
That it's a sphere than anything.
So you never seen God, but you have to see the Earth round for you to believe it.
No.
I mean, but I just didn't I got 3 different answers from 3 different people that use the Bible as a reference.
Crazy. What's crazy about this is that people will reference what they go off the Bible. When we have a space program that provides all this information, if we have been away from this Earth, we have taken pictures from the moon to show you it's round, but people still want to go back to the Bible, and it just shows how. And this is the other reason why. Let me say this. This is the other reason why this country lacks an education as well. It's because people refuse to break away from these ancient texts and go into more scientific programs are out here that are studying things and proving things, but people got to go back to the Bible when you can put a camera on something and people tell you, well, that's not true because the Bible don't say that. Like, I mean, I just don't get it, man.
Now, who's responding right now? So we can move to the next topic real quick.
Oh, let me say something, man, because Earth is, we know we've been hearing about the Bible, so we're in the last days. We're in the last days, lasting thousands of years. We're in the last days. More bullshit. I mean, it's like, come on, man. But I'm pretty sure somebody religious is going to come on and say,
it's probably true. I don't know.
But it is, like I said, thousands of fucking years. We're in the last fucking days. I'm still waiting for the end of the earth. We keep getting people predicting the end of the earth is coming, but no one seems to get it right ever. Like I said before, your funny thing is your religion is pretty much determined by geography. What you believe is determined by geography. If you were born in the Middle East, you're probably likely going to believe in Islam and this other or you may be a Coptic Christian or a Jew or some other fucking religion that I haven't even thought about yet. But there's 4,200 fucking religions. 4,200. I mean, goddamn. So that means that. And funny thing, like I said, everybody is certain they're right. Everybody who's religious is certain they're right. Certain. Nobody can prove to me that they're right. No one can demonstrate to me that they're right. They can only say, well, I studied this, I studied that, but they can't come out there and provide me with physical evidence without pointing to, well, look at the pole out here. Look at the sun. Look at the stars. There's a blue sky out here. Well, it's dark right now, so that's proof. No, that's not proof. That's not
Kelly.
Let me finish. I also know for a fact, we know for a fact, we've proven now that there's a subatomic particle known as the Higgs boson. We also know we can split atoms because we've actually done things of that nature. But we have not seen a God. We haven't seen any kind of things from a God. No one's spoken to him. No one seems to have his fucking phone number or anything like that. The whole idea of the Bible God is bullshit. Matter of fact, most of these gods are good. Maybe there is a God, but no one's been able to prove it to me yet. But there is what we call the God particle, which is the Higgs boson. We also know when we die, our particles return back to the atmosphere. We know that for a fact. So we know those are things that we can prove. We cannot prove that there's a God yet. No one's been able to prove it. You can try to point to all this other nonsense and try to say that that's evidence, but that's not fucking evidence. The science community, which you guys try to debunk, but these are people who have studied, who had scientific, studies passed down to them, and are scientists globally, who've been able to prove things. The reason we've been able to prove as a society, as people on Earth, is due to science. Algebra. Funny thing is, Iraq used to be one of the most scientifically and mathematically advanced nations on Earth. It was the most scientifically and based country on Earth at one point until Islam came in and caused and made people dumb. That's what happened. They dropped intellect and went with stupidity. And this is what's happened. Religion causing people to shut off their fucking brain and not to actually use logic and actually try to provide evidence.
Real talk.
I want to ask you something, Kelly.
Oh, go ahead.
Kelly, can I ask you something about what you said?
G-Funk and Brian, right? So go ahead, G-Funk.
Okay, I heard you say something about your religion, where you're at basically on Earth determines your religion, right? You said that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Okay. What would you say if I was to tell you that?
This was real quick. So yeah, no, I mean, I understand where you're coming from on that particular point, but it's like this though. Nobody's sitting up here talking because at the end of the day, when you look up the archaic understanding of science, all it just means is knowledge. It's not, but at the same time, you can say that science is proving this, proving that, but here it is. I've had seen multiple articles where scientists are baffled at in these times and are turning towards the Bible for answers because they don't have answers for why
there are scientists who are religious, but most scientists do not turn to the Bible when it comes to scientific evidence, bro. Well, they don't, because it will not be accepted by scientists. Science has to be peer reviewed, and religion it's already been debunked as bullshit. There's no evidence of any of that shit being proven whatsoever, man. The science community has not accepted it because there's no actual fucking evidence.
Well, you know, Cali is in one of the most liberal states in the union.
And I come from, and California is full of fucking churches. Oakland, California, there's a church on almost every fucking corner, bro. So don't even try to come with that bullshit.
Come on, bro.
I mean,
get out of here, nigga.
Can we?
I live in Seattle. Seattle's way more liberal than California, brother.
I was in Seattle a couple of
being liberal has nothing to do with none of this stuff. Like that's.
Hey, he said you determine your religion based on geography.
Yes. Yes, that's true. Like if more than likely, if you're born in South America, you're more likely going to be a Catholic. If you're born in the Middle East, you're more likely going to be, a Muslim.
Is that true? Is that true for
if you're born in Ireland, you're more likely going to be a Catholic. If you're born, you know what I mean? It's just the way it is.
Is that true? Is that true for the ancient world as well, or just modern times?
Explain. You have to, but it
was true for the ancient world as well, bro. Because those religions were brought over. It was true for the ancient world too. Yes.
What if I told you that we could find artifacts and stones
Science
written?
got to prove to me, because I can go read the scriptures where it tells me that the Euphrates River will dry up, in the latter times. And back in 2017, there was multiple reports of 2017, 2018 of the Euphrates River drying up. Someone, you know what I'm saying? So someone got to tell me.
Hold on. Where'd you get that from, dude? Where'd you get that shit from?
Those are natural currencies, and that's not
rivers dry all the time, bro.
Yeah, that's a natural phenomenon. That's not no prophecy or anything. Those are natural phenomena, just like flooding, famine, drought, and all that stuff. The warming and the cooling of the earth. Those are natural phenomenons, and just because someone wrote in the Bible does not make it genius. It's the natural flow of earth. It's the natural.
But you go study the ancient empires like the Assyrians, but like the different empires that was around during those times, they didn't have accounts of the Euphrates River drying up. You know what I'm saying?
If they lived there, yes, they did. You have to. Rivers, no way. Those are vital points of reference or points in where you begin to farm. Most civilizations begin near a body of water, and you have to deal with the flooding and droughts. Like,
and it's funny thing, we have a river in California. It's called the San Joaquin Delta River. That river's fucking drying out. This fucking happens, bro.
If you don't mind me asking you, Brian, let's assume the Bible said that to prophesize that it's going to dry. Like, what was the purpose? Like, what is it telling us? What's going to happen?
Well, okay. To answer that question, I mean, also what's going on with Iran, Russia, India. Iran, Russia,
war. Okay.
China. Oh, yeah, war. War is about to happen with America. We talk about World War III on the streets. Israelite brothers. We talk vividly about that third world at war that's going to happen with America when America messes with Iran and then Russia comes in. You know what I'm saying? When we also talk about the Valley.
So how do we know it wasn't talking about like when Europe was in war and Hitler and all that happened? What is happening?
Because we understand the scriptures say that the first and second world has already came. Now the third world comes quickly, and that woe is talking about World War I, World War II, and the coming World War III.
What about all the other wars?
I mean, World War I described descriptively in Revelation the 9th chapter about Kaiser Wilhelm and the different fighter jets and whatnot. It's just described from an ancient perspective because that was the prophecy that was given to that particular apostle at that time.
I think that's the way you interpreted it. I don't think it doesn't say that.
Well, I'm just saying that's the interpretation makes more sense than someone saying, "Oh, this is talking about something, something different." You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying going from
because right now, let's say that the U.S. does go to war with Russia. Eventually, that war will end, and then people with Bibles somewhere down the line, whenever there's going to be another war with two other nations, they're going to say that war. It's talking about that war. You know what I mean? Like it's like a never-ending cycle.
Well, hey, I got a scientific fun fact for you.
Huh?
I found. You know what I'm saying? It's in that talks about the earth and stuff. This is before modern science, okay? So I'm gonna read this. This is coming from the Bible. This is coming from Job 26,
Okay.
verse 7. Now you gotta listen to this. He stretches out the northern sky over empty spaces, suspending the earth upon nothing. Right? Okay, now we're gonna take that one. Now that we got now this is scientific. The earth is suspended upon nothing. This is coming, that was from Job 26, verse 7. And then Isaiah chapter 40, verse 22, and it says, there is one who dwells above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers. He stretches out the heavens like fine gauze, and he spreads them out like a tent and to dwell in. Okay, so now we found out that the Bible speaks about it being a circle and it's suspended upon nothing. So we're not living in a bubble. You can find it in anyone.
Anyone. Hey, just like
you can find it in yours. Find it in yours. Nope, find it in yours, and you can read it out loud.
What about the four corners of the earth?
But what does that mean? What does this whole story mean?
Yeah, that could mean anything. It could mean a lot of things. You could interpret it however you want. But like four corners of the earth, you told us the other day, if it wasn't you, I apologize. I believe it was you. That's not what it means. That it was a flat earth. You know what I mean? So why would it say four corners of the earth, and then you say no, but that's not what it means. You have to
You talking to me?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't say that. I say you got to understand the phrases. Meaning he basically is talking about the foundation of the earth, and then when you was talking about earlier. It's not saying that it's sitting on the table. It's not saying that.
Here's my thing. Here's my thing with the Bible. Why not just say the world is a sphere and it spins and it moves around the sun? Why didn't it just say that? Like you would think it was
just said that. I just read it.
No. It doesn't say it the way I just said it. It didn't say that. Like you interpreted it that way. But what I'm saying is, why can't it just say it the way I said it? Like you know what I mean? Like, well, why does the Bible have to be so cryptic?
Hold on. It said
it could be interpreted
the
anyway.
Earth is hanging upon nothing. It doesn't explain the science,
right?
But it's saying that it's hanging upon nothing. There's nothing holding it out here in space. And then I just read to you a scripture that said that it was a circle.
Let me go to this. And I got like 30 minutes, guys. Just FYI, just so everybody knows here. Okay, but
yeah, I'm really short on time too.
Yeah, but can you do some clear? And then I really do want to go to the slavery thing. So let's just really quick. What's the Bible story about the dude that was making was it like the big tower to reach heaven and all that, and to get
Babylon?
Tower of Babel.
What's the point of it? Explain that story to me and tell me how the hell he was going to reach heaven.
Well, he wasn't trying to reach heaven. What he built it in defiance of God for causing the flood. It was basically, he gathered mankind after they had produced after the Noah's flood, and he gathered them in defiance of God for causing the flood. And so basically it was they were speaking one language, and the scriptures say that he caused confusion of languages because they had come together and they will be very powerful in this defiant state of mind. So he caused confusion in their languages after that.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I mean, how many generations was this after the flood?
I think it was like 3. Because
I think it was like 4 or 5 generations after the flood.
But didn't God say he would never do it again? Something like that?
Yeah,
but
water again.
But Nimrod had become defiant.
Okay. Well, let's place that one aside. Before we get to the slavery thing, of Brian BNB and G-Funk, you guys, okay? Which one of you believe that a man was inside a fish, and which one doesn't? I just want to know, like, is it unanimous or like what? You know what I mean? So, Brian, do you believe the man was inside a fish?
Yes.
Okay, B&B?
Yeah.
Okay, G-Funk?
Yeah.
You all are unanimous. Okay, I need to hear this. Who wants
It's 3-on-3, baby?
I just need to hear about this man that lived inside a fish and prayed, and then he was spit out or something. Like, you know what I mean? I need to hear this.
Well, I just wanted to say this with the whole man living inside of a fish. I mean, we can take the spiritual aspect of it because in Job's 2nd chapter, he prayed to the Most High to have the fish spit him out because he was, being tormented inside the belly of the fish. But from a physical understanding, just from a natural understanding, it's not impossible for someone to be swallowed up by a fish, and a fish is objective. It could have been any kind of a sea creature. It's not just a whale or a big scaly fish. You know what I'm saying? So just let's say if he was inside of a sea creature, right, belly, it's not hard to believe that that you're inside of a belly with an air that has air in it, and you can survive in it for like a couple days. It's not impossible.
If I could mention something
if
too.
Adrian Broner came out tomorrow and said, "Guys, I was inside a sea creature for 4 days," what would you say? Like, honest answer.
Crack, baby.
His ass crazy as hell.
You're crazy. Like, you out of your mind. What are you talking about? Go ahead, G-Funk. Go ahead.
Just to go off of what Brian was just saying. Now I'm gonna bring something here that was written in several newspapers.
Scientist, another scientist.
It's a guy. You guys can look it up again for what it's worth. I mean, I doubt you guys will accept it, but I'm gonna read it anyway. There's a man named James Bartley. Now this is on Wikipedia. It says James Bartley is the central figure in the late 19th century story according to which he was swallowed whole by a sperm whale. He was found living days later in the stomach of the whale, which was dead of constipation. The story originated from an anonymous firm beginning to appear in American newspapers. The anonymous article appeared St. Louis, Missouri, then noted appeared in newspapers titled A Modern Jonah or something similar like that. They said that when they found, I did a little more research on it, said that apparently from what the story says and what the people that were there say, when they found him, he was like bleached. His whole hair and his whole body was all bleached from being inside of the sperm whale. Again, it's something that's there, man, and it doesn't seem like it's impossible for it to happen.
Kelly and Reggie, have anything to say? Or?
Oh, shit.
Bullshit,
you know.
Oh, BB, I don't think I went to you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's like the only way you just have to read Jonah and read the Kings and stuff like that. It requires study. You should look up the prophecies because he was going there to warn Nineveh of their destruction because they were a wicked nation. So if you probably ain't gonna you're not gonna believe in that he was swallowed by a fish, but at least you could get you could find information on the actual event that he was running from. You know what I'm saying? He was going there to warn a wicked, bloodthirsty nation that they was getting ready to be destroyed. and he went the other way. You know what I'm saying? So in order for him to bring him to pronounce that judgment on them, because they got to be warned before they're judged, before they're destroyed. You know what I'm saying? Study that. You know what I'm saying? Study the prophecy and see whether or not there's some clay tablets laying around somewhere that talk about them escaping judgment at that particular time.
Callie, Reggie.
Yeah, I think the story is false as hell because there's no way you're going to be able to live inside of the stomach of any animal, especially when you think about what's inside the stomach. There's digestive shit to start breaking you down. If you don't have oxygen, you ain't going to get no oxygen inside any creature's body. You're going to be starved of that. You're going to die. And if it's a sperm whale, many of these whales don't eat humans. You get a lot of large whales who eat some of the microscopic sea creatures. If they swallow human, they're going to spit that human back out. But if it's something like a sperm whale,
so like I just want to read.
let me finish. But if it's a sperm whale, like someone said, because they do eat larger sized animals, you're going to die in a sperm whale because these are also animals that go very deep inside the ocean. So these stories are just folklore type stories. I don't see how people will buy into the belief of it.
Yeah, like I was expecting to find like something like where like this was highly like I'm seeing here, Chief Funk, that there was inconsistencies with the story. The ship in the story, the Star of the East, a British ship by the same name, existed and sailed during the time in which the incident allegedly occurred and could have been near the Falklands at the time. But the real Star of the East was not whaling vessel, and its crew list did not include James Bartley.
Right, I agree. There's probably more than one ship named Star of the East.
Yeah,
I
but
did read that part too. Yeah.
This is an alleged story. This is not.
Yeah.
Like, fact.
Right. I know. It's just it's just something that's out there, that's documented, and I just want to bring that out.
Okay, Kelly, you got anything to add before, and then segues into the slavery thing? And Kelly left. All right, Kelly, if you're gonna come back on, let me know. If not, then that's that. Yeah, he'll let me know. All right. But and someone else just left. All right, and they're back. What's going on here? Kelly, you there? Kelly,
I think that's Brian.
No, that's Kelly.
Oh,
sorry about it. I'm having a connection issue. I have to go reset my connection in a minute. But yeah, man,
Well, I got
I'm,
soon. But just go ahead and segue us into the slavery thing, so we can end it with that.
Okay, man. Like I said, man. Hold on. Let me go. Let me get ready to go inside real quick. It should take me like a couple minutes. You guys can go ahead and start that. All right. I need to reset my connection. Should take me a couple minutes.
All right, B&B. So because you basically started with you two, then I said, hold on. So what do you have to say to that before Kelly comes back on?
What was the question again?
Well, remember Kelly said that the Bible talks and I believe he said condones slavery.
What verse is he talking? We need to know.
What verse is he talking about?
He just fell off, but
okay. Well, see, we have to know. We'd have to know the verse.
I remember hearing them say that you should a slave should obey their master or something like that. I remember hearing that in discussions.
Yeah,
that's what he's talking about. But the thing about it, you got to understand the context is slavery in a lot of parts was completely different. Like you could be indebted to a man. You know what I'm saying? Like you could be indebted in the term, using the term slavery. You are his slave, meaning that you are indebted to him and you owe him. And so a lot of you got to understand the culture too at the time. That was it was culture for you. If you were indebted, you borrowed some money from a man and he helped you. You were in servitude to him until you paid off your debt. You know what I'm saying? So you had to be obedient because that was the man that was in charge of your debt. You're paying off your debt for a certain amount of years, and then you would have to work that off. So whatever he asked you to do, you're gonna have to do it because you said I need this. You know, this is for me and my family. We'll come, we work for you until we pay off the debt from the money that we borrowed from you. And that was the custom back then. That was the custom. You know what I'm saying? In a lot of occasions. So now when you read the scripture, you got to read it in its context. And so a lot of people that pick these scriptures, they pick and choose, say, see, God he just said it condones slavery. But the thing about it is that when it comes to slavery itself here in America, the type of slavery, you got to remember that the slave masters would stand there while they gave the eulogy on Sundays to the slaves and give them the scriptures that they read to the slaves. They handpicked and selected it. And there's been plenty of slave revolts when whoever the pastors were read the entire Bible and looked at the hypocrisy of the slave masters and said they not representing the Bible, and a lot of slave rebellions began that way. You know what I'm saying? So they were, those slave masters were guiding them to make sure, to make sure that those slaves were in subjection to them and that they were in fear of them. But those scriptures were handpicked and selected, and they didn't get to hear the rest. They didn't get to hear it. They didn't even read the rest. They just made sure you better read this to these niggas. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that they obey. Tell them, make sure that they obey us. So read. You can only read this scripture right here. You read these to make sure that these people stay in subject. But they didn't read the whole thing.
So I'm looking at Exodus 21 here. Okay, it says, "Now these are the rules that you shall set before them. When you buy a Hebrew slave, he shall serve 6 years, and in the 7th he shall go free for nothing. If he comes in single, he shall go out single. If he comes married, then his wife shall go with him. If his master gives him a wife, and she bears his son or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go alone." I mean, that sounds really similar to the slavery that happened in America. I mean, aside from the after 6 years you're gone, but I mean, if I'm right there, it did say like even if like the master gets to keep the kids and the wife, and the dude gets to leave. And
what scripture was that? Read that for me. What was it?
Exodus 21.
21.
Verse, I believe that's verse 6.
Yeah, you're talking about the Hebrew slave, right?
Right. I just don't understand. Like, why would God have all? Why would He just say, like, just like with the commandments, right? Like, thou shalt not kill. Like, why not just do, thou shalt not have any slaves? Like, why not just make that commandment?
Well, it's like this, like, because, of course, you know, when you deal with colonialism, when you deal with, you know, the transatlantic slave trade, right? Of course, they took the, you know, the Bible, all right, took certain texts of the scriptures, left out some, and said, okay, this is why you're slaves. You know, this is why we have you. This is why you're not, instead of acting like an Indian, you're going to act like a civilized man, or you're not going to act like a so-called whatever tribe from, you know, from West Africa, or you know, the ones that they brought over from Europe. You know, don't act like this, act like that. They use certain, just like the whole concept of, yeah, there were people that believed in a God. They just like there's a concept of slavery. Slavery's been around since man began. They just took a particular part of the scripture, like the one, forget his name, was just saying a second ago. They took one part and one element and said, okay, this is what we read to our slaves. This is what's going to happen. This is how we're going to do them. They're not going to read Revelation 13, 9 and 10. Where it says, they that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. They're never going to read that. Of course not. When you just, this Bible can be used as, it's like a tool. A tool can be used to fix things, and it also can be used to break things, to destroy things. And you know, the slave masters use that to destroy a particular race of people, which were the people from the indigenous America, you know, the indigenous people of America, as well as the people that they brought on cargo slave ships. All right. So the concept of slavery is in everybody's culture. It's just that when you read in the scriptures, when you deal with the Hebrew slave, there's an order to it. There's an order to how you deal with the slave. You don't just deal with him any old kind of way. But you have people in these times, all right, like I said, the modern day slave masters, we know who they are. They took that concept and they put their own particular spin on it that's not attributed to the laws of the scriptures.
And you know, and I know I get where everybody coming from with this, which we gotta see if you I'm pretty sure all of us have we done read the Bible or been a part of some religion at some point in our lives and been raised and taught it. You got to remember too, when you looking at it, you got to look at from the concept of what it was written for. Now it goes from the creation to the first man and woman being created and then falling from grace, falling out of God's favor. And so when they were in that garden, they had God's favor and God's attention, and he talked to them, and they had all these things, and then they lost those things. And so subsequently, after that, hold on, Callie. So after that, we at this particular point, we are not in God's favor. So the customs and everything that we're developing, because we decided, Adam and Eve decided to govern themselves and to make their own decisions. And so God is not intervening in that. He intervenes when it's according to his purpose and his will, which was in the Garden of Eden when he pronounced judgment upon the serpent, and he said he will bruise you in the head and you will bruise him in the heel, and that he who he was talking about, who was Shiloh, who would then eventually come. Those were the times in the scriptures that God intervened when it came to that will, that he intervened with mankind and stopped the things that they were doing. Now, these customs are customs that we ourselves have developed. And so he's not condoning it, but it's a concession because it was the custom of the day. This is the way we chose to govern ourselves. Slavery has been around since the beginning. So since this is the way things are governed, there are going to have to be some rules involved in this in order that things are done as close to God. Remember, we're falling away from God. So we're continuing to get worse. So these little things are not going to be stopped by God, even though I know you want them to be. But you know what I'm saying? They're not, because the purpose is actually to bring mankind back to what was lost, that good relationship with the Creator. So when you looking at it, if you don't believe in that, you're gonna say, well, God should do this, he should be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have those convictions, and you're right for having those. There's an issue that needs to be resolved, and that's the point, that it's gonna be hard for you to get all of this without getting that.
Yeah, but this is what it comes down to, man. You said so. God, like, once it comes back to this again, God admitting that he's a jealous God. And on top of this too, God is supposed to be all knowing, and he's supposed to be all knowing. So if he's all knowing, then he created these people to send them to hell. So God wants you.
That's not
true. No. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Then I'm going to say God. So God, you trying to say that God isn't? So he's not all knowing. He said he don't know what you're gonna do then. So that's the point. So if you're saying that it's not true, then that means that God don't know what the hell you're gonna do. He creates you and then lets you go, and he don't know what you're planning, what you're gonna do before you do it. So God is completely ignorant to what people do. Then that would make more sense to the whole free will thing. But that's not what I get from Christians, and that's not what I was taught from church whatsoever. I was taught that God is all knowing. So it pretty much kills the theory of humans having free will. If God knows what you're going to do before you're born, before he even creates you, then he created you to send you to hell if you end up going to hell. He knew you were going to commit these kind of atrocities or acts or disobey him because he created you that way. Just like we have gay people on earth. People say that gay people are going to go to hell. So that means that God created gay people so he can send them to hell. That's a fact. So God, there's no further, but that is a fact. If he's all knowing, he knows what you're going to do before you do it. So he already knew that you were going to do it. He knew what you were going to do before you were born. That means he created you to be that way. Whereas if God wanted everybody to be good, why didn't he just create everybody to do exactly what he wanted them to do? Since he knows he's all knowing, if God is all knowing, then he could create people to kiss his ass. But he didn't do that, right? He creates people that's going to be mean to him. I mean, people are going to disobey him and disrespect him on a regular basis. That's what it comes down to.
Hey, Callie, let me answer that real quick because I'm not sure if the one brother believes in Christianity or not. I agree with what you're saying. Yes.
Nah, bro. I don't believe in Christianity. I'm atheist. I used to be a Pentecostal Christian, switched to Islam, and then switched back to Christianity.
Let me get really quick shout out to Chicano Prophet for that super chat. and Reg Owens as well, and I had one earlier as well. I appreciate that. Go ahead, Big Brian.
Yeah. Shout out to Reggie Owens. Shout out to Chicano. But yeah. No. I was talking about the one brother that agrees with the Bible. Now, from my perspective, as an Israelite, and of course, there's different sects, different doctrines, but the doctrine that I was taught in is that yes, the Most High, all right, who the world calls God, he and I have a scripture in the book of the Apocrypha, which is part of this original 1611 King James Bible, the 14 books they took out during the time of the Bible destruction crew. Now, there's a verse that talks about that, where it says that yes, he created the good. He basically set up the good and the evil. All right, because according to Proverbs 11:1, a false balance is an abomination to the Most High. To know good, you have to know evil. All right. So of course, yes, the Most High has created, and it also talks about in that particular verse in the Apocrypha. All right, in the 1611 original King James authorized version, right, that it tells you that yes, the Most High created individuals for his particular will. So technically, you don't have no free will. It's very evident to that when you see guys like a Floyd Mayweather in boxing, and you be like, well, damn, how it was like he was born to do boxing, right? Well, no shit. From our perspective, he was created to do what the hell he does in the ring, and all these other guys in their particular professions. All right. The point that I'm getting to is yes, that's his purpose. That's his purpose for that particular time. Now, dealing with this slave narrative or the slave subject, that's just what it is.
Hold on. So I got to respond to you real quick. I understand this. So you're just saying that God created people to send them to hell. That's what you just said.
And then I got a question after that.
Watch this. As Israelites, we teach that hell is a condition on earth. We don't teach that there's because the scriptures tell you in Job, the 3rd chapter, and many scriptures that the spirits that whoever dies, doesn't matter if he was an infant, if he was a thief, it doesn't matter. You go back to the spirit goes back to the Most High who gave it. All right. So that's what we teach, right? We don't teach that concept of hell. Hell is a condition on earth. All right. Hell just means the grave. If somebody says that I'm going to send you to hell, technically that means that we're sending you to the grave. Sha'al or Sheol in the Hebrew word, that's what it means, the grave. I don't teach a place where you burn forever. There's no such thing as that. All right, from what we teach.
Right, that's
all
like
right.
Greek mythology stuff. The concept of a burning place underneath the ground. All
right, can I ask?
We don't teach that.
No, go ahead. After you finish that answer, I want to ask a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, just real quick. Yeah. So no, we teach that the Most High we teach regeneration, reincarnation. Reincarnation is whoever dies, all right, they go back to the spirit world. Then they are regenerated back into the earth, into their lineage of the people that they come from. And depending on what happened in their past life, they're going to be judged in that particular lifetime. That's why you see a baby might get killed, or somebody might be born with birth defects or some shit. That's the concept we teach. All right. So that's where we come from. But yeah, go ahead.
All right. So my question is, it's like the thing of God creating free will amongst people. So it was like, that's the response to where people ask, so why would God let babies die, murder, slavery, and all this stuff? So some people come up with the thought of God creating free will, allowing the balance of good and evil. So in there's also a story about God destroying particular city or village over the way that they behave. Wouldn't that be a huge contradiction to that thought of free will?
No, because it's like this. Like I said, we teach, and I can go to Job 33 and 15 through 16. I can go to Proverbs 21 and 1, where it talks about how the Most High puts seals in their thoughts, in their dreams, what they're going to do. We don't teach free will. There's no such thing as free will according to the scriptures, according to what we teach as Hebrew Israelites. We don't teach that. No, I don't believe.
So God created evil people?
Can I say this?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Okay, so I want you to answer me this, Brian. So, the population of Earth in just the last, we don't have to go like way back, like just the last 10 years, right? Has like, I don't know the exact figures, but like another billion people. You know what I mean? Like additional. And we're just
we're approaching 9 billion, man. I think they said like in the next.
If we're incarnations of ourselves, right? Why are we like spreading in the population? Why is the population drastically growing?
Well, the population is drastically growing because it says that it tells you that hell has enlarged itself, and that hell is the grave. We're not talking about Hades, the Greek mythological place of hell.
I see what you mean.
We're talking about hell on earth, right? We're talking about that concept in the book of Isaiah, where it talks about the hell being the grave. It says that hell has enlarged itself. Death has enlarged itself. Why? Because people are going to have to take an account for their judgment for what they did in the past life, and dealing with certain particular nations, they're going to have to take their particular judgment for what they did to God's chosen people, who are the Israelites. That's that's the concept we teach. All right, as well as the Most High is going to judge Israelites. I'm trying to the Israelites as well.
If I can ask, I'm trying to wrap my thought process with this. So, God. There is no free will. Everything is already predetermined, right? So we're just like all of us. Literally, we think we're making decisions, but we're just in autopilot. Like what's going to happen is going to happen. It's already been determined.
Well, yeah, the scriptures vividly speaks on that. It's actually
So it seems like God is playing a video game with us, and he just having fun. Being an evil piece of shit. That's what it seems like. Basically, what you described is evil guy, man.
So how do they condemn people that commit suicide if that can be viewed as it was predetermined? But I think the Bible speaks against that.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's the point. That's the concept of reincarnation in the book of 2nd Ezra's 14th chapter in the Apocrypha. It tells you that you die, but then your judgment comes right here back on earth when you're brought back. If you kill yourself in your last lifetime, the Lord is most likely going to judge you and turn your ass retarded the very next lifetime to make up for that time.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to understand is
you said he created you to do what you're going to do. So he's going to punish you for something that he made you do.
That's how he gets down.
That's the contradictions of
that's evil.
That's what does the scripture say? It says, look, the Most High is not profane, but what he is, like G Funk read earlier about Isaiah 47:5. What he say? Good. It says that I form the light, I form the darkness. I'm good and I'm evil. I create good and I create the evil. I, the Lord, do all these things.
So in other words, right? If I control like a puppet, you know what I mean? And I say, raising your right hand, okay, is evil. Don't do it, right? And then I keep doing this. Why are you raising your right hand? I'm going to punish you for doing this. Stop doing it. That's pretty much what you're saying is going on here, right? Like, don't do this, but you're going to do it because I already created you to do it, okay? And then I'm going to punish you in the next life for doing it.
Yeah, that's how the Most High. That's how he gets down.
I'll give you credit though. Like you believe it though. Like you're like, yep. That's what it is.
Hey, look. It's like this.
I'm right there too.
I do the things I do, and do the things I do. I wonder why. Like, why the fuck am I doing this? Why am I? Hey, I'm already pre-programmed, predestined to do what I'm doing. So,
hey, can I ask you a question? We got somebody in the chat room who disagrees with you. He believes that there is free will. So why don't you can you explain to him why free will doesn't exist? He's a Christian.
Okay, good. That's good. Perfect. So I'm in the book of Job 33 and 14 now, and every Christian that comes up and tries to debate us, because Christianity and Hebrew Israelites, we believe we teach two entirely different scripture. Job 33 and 14. For God speaketh once, yea, twice, yet man perceiveth it not. In a dream, in a mission of the night, when deep sleep fall upon men and slumberings upon bed, then he opened their ears of men, speaking of him putting thoughts in their head, and sealeth their instruction, that they may withdraw from man from his purpose and hide pride from man. Basically saying, look, the Lord will put the idea and understanding of to create something, do something, the idea in somebody's head. But he'll hide himself from that particular understanding that he gave them the instruction, and they're just going to go out and create it. So based off of that scripture, also too, this book,
read the whole thing.
Right?
Read the whole thing. I want to hear this. I want to hear you read the whole thing.
You want me to read I'm reading the part that talks about that particular section, bro.
Right. So what you're saying is that that he can hide the truth from you in order for you not to see it, right?
Well, he can hide. Well, what it's saying is that he can hide the truth from you, not to see it. That he gave you the instruction. Guess what? He's the one that gave you the instruction. You're thinking in your whole mind that you're coming up with that idea of whatever, right? That's the concept that we teach. Yeah. Now, I do want to bring out one more scripture, right? Just to prove the point. Proverbs 21:1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. So all these let's just use the understanding of all these great rulers, right? We can use, North Korea's King One. I don't even know his name. All right, Putin, Donald Trump. That cat. You know what I'm saying? We can use all. Look, it says. Right
You
here,
said Proverbs
21.
what? But he was referring to the Israelites. He wasn't referring to other nations.
Well, this is King Solomon. King Solomon is talking about Proverbs, which is different instructions, different scriptures, or different advice to
Can I say this really quick?
Israelites of that time.
You know what would make better sense? I don't believe it, but what would make better sense to me is if you live a life and you're a good person, God will reward you in your next life. So you know what I mean? Yeah. And if you're an evil person,
same thing.
Okay, no, hold on, but it's something that you did. You know what I mean? And not like where it's already predetermined. That's just my opinion on that. But B&B, go ahead and add what you want to add, and then everyone give their final thoughts, and then we're gonna wrap this one up.
Yeah, no, I believe in free will because it's an example of free will by giving them the choice as to whether or not they would eat. Now, if God is perfect, wouldn't you agree, Brian?
Oh, yeah, he's perfect in all his ways. Yeah.
He's perfect in all his ways. That means we're talking about the omnipotent being that controls the entire universe, right? And so he allowed them to be able to make a decision for themselves to whether they would eat from the tree of knowledge of good and bad. That was a choice. And so he gave them the free will to make the choice. Now, in his governing abilities of his abilities to see into the future, to be able to use all his abilities anytime he wants, can he also not use them?
Can he also? Yeah, I mean, look, he set their courses the way they want. He set their courses the way they want.
Yeah, he sets their course when he wants. You got to read that whole thing in context. He could set them on a course if he decides to. That's a demonstration of his power. That's what that's emphasized.
Okay, so, Proverbs 21
and it's reached.
The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of water. He turneth it whither so he will. So in other words,
that's right, and he's referring to the kings of Israel. So
are you saying he doesn't know what you're going
to sit on Jehovah's throne when you say that? Remember, the kings of Israel said to sit on Jehovah's throne.
Are you saying that he doesn't know what you're going to do before you do it at all time? At all time, he doesn't know before you're born what you're going to do. Is that what you're saying? He doesn't know your whole life before you're born. He doesn't know.
What I said. Did you hear what I said?
No, listen to what I said. I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you a question. No. I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you a question.
All right, let's
I'm
listen.
asking, are you saying, are you going to say that God doesn't know what you're going to do before you do it before you're born? God doesn't know.
Did you? All right, let me
asking you a
respond to
question.
you.
It's a yes
Answer
or no
no.
question, man.
No,
It's
it
a
is not a yes or no question because you didn't listen to what I said prior.
Yeah, I
You
heard
did not
exactly.
listen to anything that I said prior.
Hold on, I'm saying, yes, I did hear exactly what you said before you're
No,
born.
you didn't.
I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you a question. Before he creates you, does God know what you're going to do in your life?
He can.
So he don't know.
He can if he chooses.
So he picks and chooses when. So you said he picks. Hold on, let me finish. He picks and chooses when he's going to know when you're going to do it and when you're not going to do. It's either or a person. Some people he'll pick and choose if he knows what you're going to do before you do it, and others he'll just
I'm in control of my life.
So he doesn't know what you're going to do then, right?
I make the decisions as to whether I choose to do what's right or what's wrong.
So he
I'm not
doesn't
an
know what you're going to
animal
do.
No, I choose what I'm going to do.
So he doesn't know what you're going to do then.
If he wants to know, no. He probably does know.
So he knew before you were born what you're going to do.
I don't have his mind. I'm not him,
bro. You know. I got you. You know this sounds like you
did not get me. I don't see how. I don't know how you.
It sounds dumb as fuck, bro. It does.
What? No. You already have a predetermined thing that you're saying.
You're saying that he doesn't. You said he does know. You said he has the ability. He knows what you're gonna do.
He has
so
the
he creates you without a plan. He creates you without a plan.
To see.
So he creates you without a plan.
Dude, you're not getting it. Free will is free will.
Yes, I am, bro. He knows what you're going to do before you do it, or he doesn't. So it's like this. When he's creating you, if he's not creating you, know what you're going to do in your entire life, or he just decides, you know what, today, this person, I'm just going to make them. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm just going to act like I'm going to ignore what they're going to do and just kind of let them make them. But this person,
I don't believe.
Look,
I'm not one. Hold on. I'm not one to say that God said, "Oh, bow, I'm gonna create this dude called B&B Boxing, and this is what his life is gonna be." I don't believe in that shit.
Let me say this. Hold on, guys.
I don't believe in none of that shit.
Hold on, guys. Wait a minute. So look, I'm not obviously I'm not I don't believe in any of that. But let me say this. I think I understand what he's trying to say though. So it's kind of like if you ever write like a story, you know what I mean? And you have an idea of where you want the story to go, but you don't quite know how you're going to fill in the gaps yet. You know, so you have to start writing the story. And I used to write stuff, you know, so you start writing the story and you don't know where it's going to go yet. You know, so I kind of get what you're saying. I mean,
check this out. Let me explain it to you like this. All right. So God got a whole set of rules that he requires for his people to follow, right? Right. And say, he already told me, he said, in order for you to have sex, you know what I'm saying? You got to be married and you got to have a wife and you must be committed to that woman and do that. I decided to get pussy. God damn it.
Man, sex is marriage according to the Bible, bro. Wait a second.
Hold on, because then we're going to be here forever. But I do got to go real shortly. But one, if there is a creator of the universe, I really don't think he cares if we have sex before we get married. But that's.
But you get what I'm saying, though, right?
But sex is marriage according to the Bible.
Those are his rules. That was his rules. You got to be committed to that woman. You be with that woman. And so. I'm not married, so I just fuck bitches. So I'm not listening to the Lord right now.
I'll do the video next week. I'll invite you guys back on. But just to finish the last thoughts, G-Funk, go ahead.
Yeah, just want to say thanks for letting me on. I know you had an open panel, but I want to say thanks anyway, like I always do. I enjoyed talking with you guys here. I did my best to defend my stance. I brought out some scriptures, brought out some scientific evidence. I know you guys rejected it, but it is what it is. And look forward to doing it again next time, man. I kind of wanted to talk about some of the things that you guys were talking on the last time about the rape thing in Deuteronomy. But maybe we'll talk about it next time. It's all good.
Yeah, I'll do social issues, stuff like this on Sundays, so we could always get to that. Reggie, go ahead.
Man, I enjoyed it, man. I love these discussions. They open the minds to each and every one of us. And once again, at the end, even in disagreements and not having the same beliefs, it's all love. So we all believe and live how we want, but it's all respect at the end of the day. So I enjoy this shit and great conversations. I love all kind of conversations like this, and it awakens the mind and shit.
What's up, Callie? What are your final words, bro?
Oh man, this is fun, man. I love doing this type of shit, man. I used to go to a group meeting, man, called Beer Not God, man. So we used to have fun with this shit, man. We would talk. Funny thing though, most of the time we would go there, we didn't even talk about religion. We would just talk about like politics and shit like that, which is the stuff like that, and sometimes sports. So we rarely spoke about religion because, to be honest with you, I know people don't seem to understand this. Atheists don't believe in any religion. We don't believe in a hell. We don't believe in the God. We just believe in what we see and what can be proven. And basically, that's what our beliefs are. It's not because there's people who think that we worship the devil and all. We don't believe the devil exists. We don't think the devil is no more real than God. We think that, to me, the shit that you guys are reading. No disrespect, you can believe whatever you want to believe as long as you don't choose not to harm people. But I believe that the religion that you guys follow are no different than watching Jack or Jill or Paul Bunyan. It's the same shit to me. I think it's a joke. It's fucking hilarious to me. I laugh at it. It's a clown circus to me. Like I said, I believe in things that can be proven. Science goes by fact. It's not by feelings. The first thing that science, what they try to disprove anything, they try to disprove something first. So if someone says they found out something, if they're trying to prove something, the first thing that the peers will do is try to disprove that hypothesis. That's what they're going to try to do. They're going to go in and try to disprove it. Once they cannot disprove it, then they'll meet again and they'll try to come to a conclusion. And that's what it's about, man. But you know what I mean? That's a whole nother subject. We'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, I go by that. You know what I'm saying? Evidence that I can see. And the funny thing like this, no one's been able to prove to me that there is a God. And the funny thing is, it appears to be there's many gods. If there is a God, there appears to be many gods, at least 4,200. So that's fucking hilarious right there. And I heard religious people say that there's only one God. So which one is it? But would
you say that you're spiritual?
On the panel? No, I'm not spiritual. No, I don't believe in that shit. That shit's fun. I don't believe in that
shit. In the sake of fairness, BB, respond. I'm going to close this one out.
A fleshly man, a physical man cannot peer into the things of God because it must be revealed in spirit. And so it's hard to have conversations with people who don't have a spiritual side because God reveals things through his spirit. So that's the only way things like this can be understood. So that's all I got.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'll just say this. Me being an Israelite, teaching. I mean, at the end of the day, y'all my brothers anyways. I'm saying, Black and Hispanic or Native American. So at the end of the day, healthy conversation. So I enjoyed my time out here.
For sure.
Just to go back and forth. So it's all good.
Absolutely. And I want to thank you guys for coming on. Next Sunday, I'll be on again, and we could expand a little more for whoever wants to come back and stuff like that. This is D-Style Boxing. I do have to go. I'm not going to give my final thoughts just for the sake of fairness. I don't want someone to feel like, hey, this guy said all this shit, and then he ended the stream. I'm not going to end it with that. Okay, this is D-Style Boxing. I'm out, guys. Peace.
Salute. Peace.
Peace. Salute.
Peace.